Just a few miles from downtown Milwaukee, the Wisconsin State Fair Park is the home of the State Fair, and the Green Bay Packers have played here at times. But the Milwaukee Mile is most known for IndyCar racing. The NTT IndyCar Series is back for the first time in almost a decade, and the fans have returned for a festive fair-like weekend. And the driver with possibly the largest fan base, Pato O'Ward, entertained his legions with a win here yesterday. It's a doubleheader weekend, and there are 2 races remaining this season, and realistically 2 remaining contention for the title. Will Power finished second yesterday to cut into the deficit in his quest for a 3rd championship. But Alex Palou came home with his 13th top 5 of the season to maintain control for his 3rd title in 4 years. Welcome to IndyCar Live, presented by Liberty Mutual. This is the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250. IndyCar is back, so are the fans. Welcome to the front of the grid. I'm Kevin Lee, and this is what they're playing for. This is the Astor Cup. It dates back to the 19-teens. It was used in automobile racing and has a connection to Indianapolis Motor Speedway founder Carl Fisher, and it has been presented to the IndyCar champion since 2012. So 2 are definitely vying for that, but there are 25 others with so much more at stake to finish up the season, and yesterday they got after it.
Go, 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 green, green, green.
Inside, inside, great job.
Still there. He's inside you by himself.
Clear, leader in front of you. Johnny Mac saying he is free, go get him. Newgarden for position.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, you can't do that, that's not okay.
He pressed right into me.
Hey, Cone, you gotta come in, so we will not.
Wow, that was close, huh?
Very close. Green, 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 green.
Middle of 3, middle of 3. Oh my God.
Checkered flag, buddy. You just won in Milwaukee. Great car, great pit stop, awesome day.
Pato O'Ward certainly got it done yesterday. We welcome, along with the Astor Cup, Townsend Bell and James Hinchcliffe to the front of the grid, and a great crowd assembled behind us as well. All right, Hinch, what did we make and take away from yesterday's return to Milwaukee?
Well, look, I think first and foremost, it's just so good to be back here at the mile. This track has so much history. That's why the drivers love coming here, love racing here, love winning here, and it all comes down to the action on the racetrack. This race was way more entertaining than anybody thought it was coming into it. We had the high line working. We had the low line working. We had all sorts of degradation from the tires, strategies galore, and ultimately, we had some very, very big movers. This shows you how easy it was to pass. 326 on-track passes for position, and look at some of those movers. Daly, 22 places up. Lundgaard, 17. Ferrucci, 15. There was wheeling, there was dealing, there was movers and shakers all day long.
It was a fantastic race, Kevin. I think today could be even better, though, because the temperatures are rising. The other people that need to be better today are the veterans. You saw the names there, like Connor Daly and Santino Ferrucci. These cats are driving for the league minimum, and they are showing up the drivers that earn the big money. Let's look at Connor Daly. Start of the race yesterday. He goes to the high side, entering turn 3, and he just absolutely sends it. 3 wide, round the outside of Stingray route, and he's not done there. He lays into the loud pedal and just keeps digging. Goes into turn 1 here. Hair on fire. He's got a clean racetrack. But Kevin, the guys that are earning $4, $5, $6 million a year, they need to pull their belts down, get up on the wheel today, and remind everybody why they're the highest paid guys in the series, because the young guns are fighting for their future.
Well, one of those guys that we think is pretty well compensated is Pato O'Ward, and he certainly earned his keep with the win yesterday. Let's hear from the very popular winner with Georgia Henneberry.
Yeah, let's hear from Pato O'Ward. Just under 24 hours ago, you stood in victory lane. Today, obviously a clean slate, but the one thing that you do have is the knowledge from yesterday. What can you bring into today to recreate this?
You know, today is going to be all about applying that, you know, just doing what we did right again, and learning from what we could have done better. Everybody's had a chance to make their car go faster. Hopefully we've made ours a step better, and we're starting just one position worse than where we were yesterday, so we've shown that we can make our way forward if we've got a good race car, and that's what we're going to try and do today. The track temp's going to be a little bit warmer, so car balances will be shifting throughout the race, so it'll be important to stay on top of it, but it's IndyCar racing. It's definitely going to be a different race today.
Third win of the season. How big was this for morale for the team going into the last 2 races of the year?
It was fantastic. We're coming off pretty rough weekends, I would say. So it's exactly what we needed to roll on to the end of the season. And you know, we've got this race today, and then we've got the last one, the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, first time in Nashville Super Speedway. So we're going to try and get it done there too.
Pato O'Ward victorious yesterday. We'll see what he can do today, Dylan.
Will Power finished second yesterday, closed the points gap on Alex Palou to 43 points. Everybody had a go at this yesterday. You know the 10 team is going to step up. They'll find a way to improve. How can you guys on the 12 car do the same and beat them again? Yeah, I mean, we changed our car because we didn't feel like we were that good yesterday. I mean, we weren't horrible, but definitely a different condition. The wind is different, the track temp is up, it's obviously a day race, so everyone's improved, everyone knows the strategies, so you've got to be on your toes, and you know, it's only, you absolutely have to finish ahead of Alex or it's pretty much over, so we know the goal. You know, I got a couple of good teammates there that will help me out, and we'll see what we can do. You told me yesterday that you've worked really hard at making your cockpit a calm environment. How do you feel like that will help you today and ultimately in Nashville too if the situation arises? Yeah, I mean, that's the only way to be. Once you're in that car, you just need to be in that calm mode. Like, you cannot dwell on anything that someone does to you or something that goes wrong. So we'll do our best, stay calm and make the best decisions that we know are going to work, and it'll fall where it does, so we'll do our best. Job simple on paper. Will Power just got to beat Alex Palou on the racetrack.
And Townsend, he's been very clear the last 2 races. I have to finish ahead of Alex Palou to stay alive.
Yeah, Will Power knows what he needs to do. So the question is, for Alex Palou, the championship leader, what does he not need to do? He does not need to get caught up in any aggro out there on the track. And any of the drama that we saw yesterday, as we take a look at the championship points, 43-point lead with 2 races to go right here today and then in Nashville in 2 weeks' time. I talked with Alex Palou's team, especially his strategist Barry Wanzer. The only thing I think they're really worried about is an untimely yellow that they can't control. They've done everything perfectly this season to keep Palou out of trouble, and he's certainly done the job behind the wheel.
He certainly has avoided chaos yesterday, brought home a good result. You see that 43-point differential. He's got to leave today with more than 54 points. So 55 points or more over Will Power. He seals the championship today. Here are some of the scenarios. If Palou wins, Power's got to be second if we're going to take this fight to Nashville. If Power is ahead of Palou, we go to Nashville for a championship showdown. And if Power has a bad day, is in the bottom 3, Palou only has to be 14th. And that is not hard for a guy with this level of ability and this kind of team behind him to do.
All right, let's hear from the championship leader who could maybe wrap it up today. Alex Palou is with Dylan.
Well, Alex Palou's points lead decreased a little bit after race number 1, still sits at 43 points. Not a huge loss, but I know you want to have as much buffer as you can. So how do you balance going after wins, which I know are still a priority, versus just doing what you have to do to continue to manage this points lead the next 2 races?
I think it doesn't really change what we've been doing all year and what we've done also yesterday. We're a bit unlucky there with that last yellow, a bit too aggressive. We actually were going for that win. That's why we pitted early, got the yellow after that, and that's why we went from 2nd to 7th. So yeah, car's feeling great on race stream, so hopefully we can move forward today, fight for the win, and then we'll see what happens at Nashville. But yeah, the target's still to try and win the race.
Had a top 5 yesterday, just needs another one of those today. Alex Palou starts 10th.
So certainly the championship is the only focus for Palou and Power, but everybody else wants a win, as Townsend said, trying to secure their futures, and they know Palou just can't crash. How aggressive do they get with him?
Look, they're going to take advantage of that for sure. Every driver is going to take any advantage that's on the table for them. And you hear Palou say, the key for us is to just not change what we've been doing. Yeah, that's what you should do. That's the right thing to say, but Townsend, it's a lot harder from behind the wheel to keep that mindset over 250 laps to go for that gap that you would have back in race 3.
Yeah, but let's face it, in this field of 27 drivers, over the last several years, nobody is better at containing the rage than Alex Palou. At his heart, he is still a racer. He wants to win just like everybody else, but he has this magical ability to rise above that 1,000-foot view at all times. He keeps the big picture in sharp focus. That's why he's a 2-time champion at such a young age.
And he seemingly always avoids peril. Did it again yesterday, ducking below a crash on track to remain unscathed. We've got so much more to come here from the grid. A mini grid walk with Dylan and Georgia coming up in just a little bit. And then we'll climb the steps and get ready to go racing. You're watching IndyCar Live, presented by Liberty Mutual. Only pay for what you need.
All season, race fans have had the chance to win one of 3 new Corvettes, courtesy of Hy-Vee. Tune in to the IndyCar finale at Nashville in a couple weeks to find out who will be the final winner. Scan the QR code on your screen right now to learn more. Well, IndyCar's returned to Milwaukee for the first time in almost a decade yesterday in race number 1, and boy, it was entertaining. Had lots of drivers that were making charges on the restarts coming from the back of the field. Connor Daly, maybe the best and most exciting story, starting deep in the field and scoring a podium for the Juncos Hollinger team. He starts deep again today in the 20th spot, but certainly will be a fun one to watch. Santino Ferrucci, always exciting as well. He was working the high line. And then, of course, you have the championship battle. How do these 2 drivers battling it out at the front decide how aggressive to be? Will Power is on full offense. Alex Palou just has to make sure he gets through today with a fighting chance to get to Nashville. Lots to cover. Let's get things started for race 2 at Milwaukee with pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you rise and remove your hats as the 128th Air Refueling Wing of Wisconsin Air National Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as IndyCar Ministry Chaplain Chuck Lessick offers today's invocation.
Let's pray. Lord God, we just want to say thank you for this absolutely beautiful day you've provided for today's race here in Milwaukee. As we celebrate Labor Day in the American workforce, we just thank you for the prosperity our country enjoys. Lord, we're about to go racing again here in Milwaukee, and we ask your steady hand of protection over each and every one of us to get us home safe to our friends and family. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Here to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome the State Fair favorites, the kids from Wisconsin.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Fans, let's hear it one more time for the kids.
What's the penultimate race of the year for the NTT IndyCar Series, and in a couple weeks, the series finale heads back to the Nashville Superspeedway. It's the 4th running of the Nashville Music City Grand Prix. Scott Borchetta heads up the promotion team. So what makes this relationship with IndyCar such a great fit going back to Nashville?
Well, you know what? Nashville is the it city, and there's no better place to have the NTT IndyCar finale than Nashville. So we're so over-the-top excited. The music's going to be incredible, and hopefully we don't decide the championship today, and we have a reason to go, all out in Nashville at the Nashville Superspeedway.
And it's back on the oval this year for the first time in a while. What should fans be most excited about as the series heads back to Nashville Superspeedway?
Well, for everybody who saw the race yesterday, the race on the Milwaukee Mile was incredible, and so that's what oval racing. IndyCar was born on an oval at the Indy 500, so it's great to end the season on oval.
Can't wait to get back there in a couple weeks. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix on the side of Nolan Siegel's car today, Georgia.
Dylan, you already mentioned him, but we have to give him another mention because he made yesterday so exciting. That's Connor Daly from 25th to 3rd yesterday. That was his first podium in 8 years, and it was Juncos Hollinger Racing's first ever podium. So making history for this team, he made 51 on-track passes. This is his pass for 3rd right here. 51 on-track passes, 31 of those for position. He got to celebrate with the team, with other drivers. You saw Will Power, and with his family. All around a good day. Today, he starts 5 spots better in that 20th position. We'll see what he can do. Dylan.
Georgia, another hard charger was Santino Ferrucci. Started the 19th spot and finished 4th at the end of the race yesterday. That was his 9th top 10 of the year. That's the most for an AJ Foyt driver since Kenny Brack in 1998, and one away from tying Robbie Gordon for the most top 10s in a single season for an AJ Foyt racing pilot. Santino certainly feels confident again. He was aggressive with his setup, with his driving. Said he was maybe going to have to taper it back just a little bit, but we know one thing. The driver of the 14 is always fun to watch, and he should be again today. Starting a little further forward in the 12th spot, Kevin.
Should be used to this by now.
Well, Santino Ferrucci consistently provides entertainment, and he did yesterday as well. You got some new looks. That's Joseph Newgarden's look for today. Scott McLaughlin will have the blue car today with the Gallagher partnership. Getting closer to going, you're watching IndyCar Live, brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need.
The Milwaukee Mile. She's as old as the sport of open-wheel racing and has seen her share of events and winners over the last century plus. From Rex Mays to Rick Mears, myself, and AJ Foyt. For the drivers today, welcome to the mile. It may seem simple enough on paper, but don't let that fool you. The 4 flat corners are wide and inviting, but there is risk in every pass. Get it right, and you'll join a long list of legends that have been victorious at the iconic Oval.
And Michael Andretti has won here in Milwaukee. Al Unser Jr. has won.
After a 9-year pause, IndyCar is back at the historic Milwaukee Mile.
It's special to be back at the Milwaukee Mile. It's always special when Mario Andretti is involved. A 5-time winner here at the mile. Only Roger Ward with 7 had more. It's the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile, race number 2 of the doubleheader weekend. Final 3 in the championship. 2 to go now on ovals. Kevin Lee, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe. Townsend, you are a road racer that picked up ovals quite nicely. In fact, you lapped the field here at Indy Lights. So what's it take to do well here?
What's so great about the Milwaukee Mile is the breadth of canvas, the space that it gives you to use your racer artistry and come up with different lines and different angles and different racing surfaces to work with. As you see this season, who's been the best? The Thirsty Three. Scott McLaughlin with Team Penske. Average finish on ovals of 4th. Dixon 6.4, and yesterday's winner, Pato Award, 7.4. Joseph Newgarden there ended in a crash. He was on pace for a top 3 finish, ended in the wall. Otherwise, his average would be much, much higher.
You'll see the starting grid for the second half of this doubleheader based on the second lap in qualifying early yesterday on the left side of your screen. And there are still plenty more stories to get to, and we head back down to pit lane and Dylan.
Linus Lundqvist's 6th place finish yesterday was his 3rd top 10 of the year and 2nd straight on an oval. He drove to the lead in the early laps of race 1 and called that stint the best he's ever driven in an Indy car. As a rookie, naturally, there are still some things he's learning. He's identified those from race 1 and said to me this morning, there is no reason we can't be better than 6th today, Georgia.
Joseph Newgarden is going to lead the field to green next to his teammate Scott McLaughlin. Joseph taken out of the race yesterday after an incident with Marcus Ericsson on lap 146. So they went to work on that car, but we have to realize that Joseph Newgarden isn't called the Oval King for no reason at all. This is going to be a redemption run for him today as he looks to add an 18th Oval win to his already 31 NTT IndyCar Series win. We'll see what he can do leading this field to green.
Ovals will be the key to finish this season and wrap up a championship. I also know that Alex Palou has a better oval finish this year than Will Power does, who's won 10 times on ovals. Palou still looking for his first.
He is, but he's come so close so many times. One of them famously at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 500 back in 2022, I believe, or 21, I think, sorry. And he had a great shot at it in Iowa, race 1. If it wasn't for this man catching the lucky yellow, Palou could have had his first oval victory this season already.
And for this guy right here, Will Power, he knows the job in front of him. He's got to go try to win this thing. Yes, of course, he's got to finish ahead of Alex Palou, but nothing is going to close the gap like a race win today. And his teammate, Joseph Newgarden, is going to be fascinating to watch. He's going to want to redeem himself after ending there in the fence yesterday. So for a lot of these drivers, Kevin, high expectations today. It's time to crack a can and just flat get after it.
That seems appropriate in Beer Town in Milwaukee. The fans have come back for day 2, building for the future, and we're ready to get started again for race number 2. Let's head back down to the grid.
Here to give the command for today's race, please welcome your Grand Marshal, Governor Tony Evers.
Drivers, start your engines.
Starting up.
27 fighting for results, championships in play, and so much more. We'll tell you the stories and watch the action coming up next in Milwaukee. Welcome back to the Milwaukee Mile. Kevin Lee, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe getting set for the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250. And the championship leader is stopped on the pace laps.
Huge
what
moment
a development.
Huge moment here. What is going on with the number 10 of Alex Palou?
Normally you'd see a driver pretty animated in the cockpit. Not this guy here. Cool, calm, collected, talking to the team, trying to diagnose the issue.
Down all the way, pit to P0.
So they're doing a power cycle on the car. That's kind of a unplug and plug it back in again sort of approach.
There are more challenges involved with the hybrid. Remember the beginning of Mid-Ohio. Scott Dixon was a championship contender. He did not race that race because the car would not go at the beginning.
If they cannot get this car started, and Will Power starts from 4th with the 10 of Alex Palou out of the race, this has massive championship implications.
Guys, we've done the number of pace laps that were prescribed for the start of this race. These laps are counting. Alex Palou is going to go, or is already, a lap down as the AMR safety team is quick with the manual starter. This is huge.
They are finishing the first lap under caution right now. Alex Palou is a lap down to the field. You can make that back up if it gets to B2.
It starts getting
very
real tricky.
difficult.
It starts getting very tricky. See Barry Wanzer there.
I believe Barry
side.
Wanzer's telling the IndyCar official that they're waiting for a system recycle before they can try to refire his car, waiting for the computer to reboot on the race car.
It doesn't happen instantaneously. You got to turn it off, kind of let everything stop, turn it back on, let everything boot back up. These are very complicated machines, a lot of electronics on a modern day Indy car. But those electronics have let down the 10 car this morning. This is baffling. You can't write this script.
We talk about all of the things that this team has done right in terms of what they can control. This is not seemingly one of them. As the leaders cross, start, finish, and as quickly as that happens, as it sits right now, Alex Palou is falling in terms of championship lead before our eyes. As all these race cars cross the line, I think it's going to be about 20 points separating. Now it's 18. It's updated in real time, James. 16 points separates Palou from Will Power. The whole championship is wide open before they even go in anger at Milwaukee.
If Will Power could win this race, he could go to Nashville as the championship leader.
It would be one of the biggest comebacks in IndyCar history. It was a 59-point gap going into Portland with 3 races to run.
And there goes Palou 2 laps down. AMR safety team has said it's on the team now. We've got to get ready to get back to work. Palou frantically waving.
So we got to plug in and charge it.
And he wasn't waving for the starter. He's waving for the umbilical cord, the digital cord to get plugged in to reset the systems. This is a disaster.
It also allows open communication between the crew and the driver. You don't have to use the radio if you're plugged in.
Lots of hand movements, but he should be able to talk to the crew.
Up on the air jacks and then start it.
Unless the car's
Rolls
off.
up and then drop it and go.
Is he not able to find neutral, maybe?
It's clearly in gear. 3 laps down.
Gotta plug in, we gotta plug in.
At this point, no way Alex Palou can finish in the top 15.
No, but he can still salvage points. We saw some attrition yesterday. There's going to be accidents. There's going to be miscues. You know, we saw drivers 10, 12 laps down still out there circulating. This crew just has to focus on getting that car running. But now that it's in pit lane, we should be able to go racing, and we've just got word we are 1 to go at the line. Palou's about to go a lot of laps down.
James, before this race, we talked about scenarios. This was not one of them.
We did not consider this one, Justin.
So even if Power wins the race, if Palou can get back in and score some points, for example, get to 22nd, he still could have the lead going into Nashville. All right, we have done 4 laps under caution. Alex Palou, the championship leader, sits on pit lane. His closest chaser, Will Power, points as they run, 16 back, starting from 4th. Different look from yesterday. It's a black snap-on car for Joseph Newgarden, the pole sitter. Scott McLaughlin in the blue Gallagher car on the outside. Keep an eye on Power. Red, white, and black Verizon car, and there is no start.
Oh,
big
crash!
Power got through.
Back it down, back it.
Through.
Okay, go for it.
Joseph Newgarden out from pole position 2 days in a row for a start that was waved off.
Unbelievable.
I guess someone didn't get the message.
Newgarden said someone didn't get the message. They waved off the start. Did someone go from behind? Keep an eye on that number 8 car and Marcus Armstrong. The two Ganassis came together and got into Newgarden.
It was Linus Lundqvist seemingly not aware that the start was waved off.
Pato O'Ward barely missing, getting into the back of Newgarden there. Your winner from yesterday, great avoiding action.
Look at the spool of copper there as Alex Palou. This is a break for him that it went caution straight away. Unfortunately, he's 6 laps down, but he's on the racetrack attempting the comeback.
What a development. We'll try to get started coming up next at the mile. Elf, the beauty company that stands with every eye, lip, and face, is empowering legendary females like Catherine Legg, the only female driver on the track today. Her busiest season in IndyCar racing in well over a decade. She started 18th, runs in 19th. We are under caution and haven't even started the race. The AMR safety team is attending to Joseph Newgarden. The pole sitter is out. So already the start was aborted because Alex Palou, the championship leader's car, wouldn't go. Here we were starting on lap number 5, and watch behind the front row. The start was waved off, and as Newgarden said, not everyone apparently got the message.
Linus Lundqvist in the blue and white machine got into the back of his teammate Armstrong in that orange number 11. That started the whole chain reaction. We mentioned O'Ward barely getting around the spinning cars in front of him.
There was contact from Pato O'Ward's left front wing. It was mild, but I can see tire marks on his left front wing right there. You can see a little bit of contact. I don't know if that'll be enough to hurt him aerodynamically, but one thing's for sure, this car, Joseph Newgarden, is done. Let's ride on board and listen.
Yellow, yellow, yellow. No start. No start.
You can hear Newgarden goes and then checks up.
But I mean, he didn't check up in a way that
nothing he did wrong.
No, yeah. Just, yeah.
But somebody else didn't check up behind him.
So keep an eye on the blue and white machine.
No start, no start, no start. Watch out ahead. Watch out, watch out, watch out. Back it down, back it down, back. Okay.
This is going to be a good view on board Pato O'Ward.
Will you just going? Green, green, green. No start, no start, no start.
Oh,
pretty good hit for the nose of Pato O'Ward.
I think he largely got away with it. Look, I mean, Joseph backs off. Armstrong pulls driver's right to just kind of avoid getting into the back of him. Linus is going with him. It's just...
Here's on board with Alexander Rossi. Look at Lundqvist to the left, the 8.
So while we have a moment to get things sorted out, let's explore this track. We meant to do this when this car stopped, but Honda brings us our track preview of the Milwaukee Mile.
One thing you'll notice right away as we ride on board the Honda Power car there of Pietro Fittipaldi, the width of this track, 1, 2, 3, 4 seams of pavement. You can fit probably 5.5, 6 cars wide. Guys like Connor Daly make good use of the track width. And James, I talked about this earlier. I love the creativity that this allows the drivers in terms of racecraft.
Dylan, what's happening with Alex Palou other than running?
Yeah, we see him running now. He's running to the timing stand, just went by us there to climb up on top of that and chat with Barry Wanzer. So Barry did confirm it was a hybrid issue, something that was out of their control. So they're going to take the 10 car back to the Ganassi hauler right now and try and do some more diagnosis as you see Barry and Alex trying to decide what to do and maybe what exactly happened here.
Look, all these caution laps, this sounds weird, it really does help Alex. If there's a chance to get that car up and running again, we've seen cars go back to the garage.
So as soon as it's ready, you just go. So the car is coming here? Or?
No, to the garage.
Going back. So I go back there, get in it, when it's fixed. It'll take 1 or 3 minutes when it's fixed to go.
There you go.
Who else manages a smile under this situation? This guy's pretty unflappable.
I'm just going to say the same thing. The temperament of Alex Palou that you saw right there, this is a complete disaster. He has every right to be having a total meltdown. Instead, he is completely focused on every second between right now and when his car leaves pit lane. He's not going to leave a second to spare except to get a water, but he'll be ready. Here we go.
Okay, let's try it again. By the way, the restart was waved off because of the back of the field not being packed up properly. Now Scott McLaughlin controls the field. Willpower is 8 points back as they run, starting from second. Lundqvist, Rossi, Award. Let's go again from Milwaukee. And Rossi taking a look right down there on Lundqvist. Can he get him through 2?
3 wide behind them, and same old story. Connor Daly living up there in Schechterville, USA, in that third lane, making moves early.
His teammate Roman Grosjean side by side with Santino Ferrucci there. Pato Award down low.
Marcus Ericsson working the top off of 4 around Nolan Siegel. Trying to rebound from yesterday's crash. Side by side now, Ferrucci there in that black and yellow Phoenix machine for AJ Foyt Racing. Coming off a strong result.
Fighting with David Malukas, couldn't get him there, dives down to low side again. Ferrucci is through, he is thrilling on ovals.
Santino Ferrucci does not have a contract in hand for next season, but this weekend he's showing everybody why he probably deserves a multi-year contract as Colton Herta goes around Scott Dixon as we take a look at this replay.
This is Colton trying to make lane 3 work. We saw this happen yesterday. Kyle Kirkwood got stuck in a sandwich in that same spot. But even here, Dixon's riding in that second lane. Colton saying, don't care, I'll try lane 3.
That's back for 13th place. Here's Jack Harvey on the low side in the white and green car as Colton Herta continues to move forward up to 12th.
These guys watched a lot of game tape last night of Connor Daly making these moves happen up high. Everyone a lot more comfortable further up the racetrack than what we saw at this stage yesterday. And it's leading to a lot of moves early in this race. Grosjean up 4, Ericsson up 6. Grosjean up 6, Herta up 6.
This is the point in a lot of the road racing where we talk about saving fuel. Today, the game is saving tire. As soon as you think you've used your opportunity for big moves, I think you have to settle in today as track temps are almost 110 degrees. That Gainbridge Honda of Colton Herta, very aggressive, but now he's starting to settle in to take care of his Firestones. He's got to go probably 65, maybe 75 laps with all the yellow we had to start this thing.
Nolan Siegel, that was in front of him. Now we're on the Delaware Life machine of Marcus Ericsson, repaired heavily after that crash yesterday with Joseph Newgarden coming off of turn 2. He's trying to go to work now on David Malukas. And they're way higher than what we saw yesterday. It's great to see those moves work and great to see Alex Palou sliding back into the DHL machine.
His teammate Linus Lundqvist is being given an avoidable contact penalty for that start. So Lundqvist who was running up near the front. You see now him dropping as he has to serve the drive-through.
So Alex Palou will be at least 25 laps down before he gets on the racetrack. He'll be hoping other cars fall out and he can gather up a couple of points. But once again, Will Power, the number 12 Verizon car, sits just 8 points behind Palou in the championship. He had long odds coming in. He has great odds right now.
Nolan Siegel on pit lane with an issue. We'll get to that in a moment. For the second day in a row, Joseph Newgarden must talk during the race with Georgia.
Yeah, Joseph Newgarden has been released from the IndyCar medical unit. You made a mention on the radio he didn't get the memo. Was that directed at the car?
Like, don't ask me that question. Come on, I'm not trying to. I get clobbered on a start. Like, it just obviously it's not our day, you know. So, yeah, I mean, they go yellow and I get run into. So, yeah, of course, someone didn't get the message.
Thanks, Joseph.
And Marcus Armstrong also with some damage there, and he so far has not returned. All right, so Alex Palou trying to salvage what he can and head to Nashville with a championship lead, but that is to be determined. You're watching USA's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Hy-Vee, this racing season, help Hy-Vee reach their goal of 100 million meals by visiting Hy-Vee.com. Hendrickson, a global manufacturer of innovative ride solutions and proud partner of RLL Racing. And by NTT, official sponsor and technology partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. If you're just joining us, you're going to need to be caught up on a few things. There has been a development and a battle for the lead up front. Championship implications. Will Power is running on the outside on Scott McLaughlin. McLaughlin in the blue car trying to hang on the lead. Power, if he can get by, would take over the championship lead as the points run.
You gotta wonder how much is Will Power asking his team to help him out a little bit here now. I don't think there would be any coming because Team Penske always races each other straight up. Will Power's going to have to earn it today, but he certainly knows what's on offer as you ride on board the Verizon onboard, James. Power knows
struggling.
His teammate might be struggling. A little bit of
already politicking.
Hopeful optimism there.
But you got to remember, teammates, yes. You got to think bigger picture, yes. But at the same time,
very careful around you.
There's no love lost between these two. Multiple incidents on track between them over the course of the year has cost both drivers points. I don't think we're going to see a lot of give and take necessarily between those two as we see championship leader Palou back on track.
But he is 28 laps down. Now also keep in mind, for Scott McLaughlin, he is not eliminated from the championship.
Feels like he's got a better pace than us. He gets through traffic, let Will through.
What did he say there? He said if...
Let Will through. Get around this traffic. If you can't get through this traffic, let Will through. Or once you get around this traffic.
McLaughlin's saying, watch this.
I'm going.
This is what cost Scott the lead yesterday. He struggled to get around the tail end of the lead lap cars, and that's what opened the opportunity for others to pounce.
He's not going to want to give it up because he, as points run now, would still be mathematically alive. It would take two guys crashing out at Nashville and him winning the race. But he would say, I'm telling you, there's a chance.
Now both have cleared the number 30 of Pietro Fittipaldi. Let's see in clean air what Scott can do, but Will definitely looks a little bit more comfortable in that dirty air running in traffic.
You talk about the rich history of conflict between these two. It was just a couple of months ago, James, up in your hometown in Toronto. This time it was Power, the aggressor, inside of McLaughlin. Takes him out of the race and into the concrete. You don't think McLaughlin's forgotten that after a couple months? There's no way he's letting Will Power by.
That's what I'm saying. And this comes off the back of McLaughlin having a similar move on Power at Laguna. So it's been a couple different on-track incidents between these two.
There is the leader, Scott McLaughlin, through the first little wave of lap track, which is always a factor on a short oval. His teammate Will Power, very much in the championship, is right behind him. Dylan.
So Alex Palou back out on the racetrack. It was not a hybrid issue as was initially suspected. The team just replaced a 12-volt battery in the car, which powers the ignition and a couple other things, and the car fired right up. So I understand that if it was a hybrid issue, the car would not be running right now. So that's the good news for Palou. They still somehow, he and Barry Wanzer have just maintained their composure. Alex said, we're not going to worry about points. We're going to go out here and we're going to ride around and just do what we have to do to score as much points as possible. So they are not out of it by any means and going to keep fighting all the way to the end.
Marcus Armstrong is trying, his team is trying to repair that car, but right now he is many, many laps down. And we saw Nolan Siegel sitting on pit lane. He is 18 laps down, so there is a position that Palou can get. And here comes Power again to fight for the lead on his teammate Scott McLaughlin. He's got a little run.
This is a really fun part of the race when the drivers start to explore laterally, left to right across this wide Milwaukee track. Where can I find clean air? And Power is looking everywhere.
Power definitely has the pace advantage as he goes by now. Scott McLaughlin, he's got to contest with this lap traffic. Linus Lundqvist, the number 8, first car that Power will get to. Gallagher Insurance on board.
Will Power slid up the racetrack there. You go to that inside line, there's no grip. And what does that do to the championship? 3 points now to Power's favor. Will Power leads the championship in a scenario that we never could have imagined.
Who would have thought the team that always avoids peril, disaster, makes it work seemingly every week for almost the last 4 years? Alex Palou seemed much more likely to wrap up the championship with races to spare than need to win a straight-up fight, and that's what is looking like for the moment. If Power can finish up front, it may be winner-take-all at the Nashville Superspeedway in 2 weeks.
Look, the other thing you got to consider in all this, guys, is just how good the 12 team has been over the last few weeks. When it really counted, when they really needed to perform to keep themselves in this championship discussion, you had that win in Portland, you had the second place yesterday, you've got them leading today. Everyone is doing a great job on that 12 team, Dylan.
You're absolutely right. The pit crew has been the fastest statistically all year. And Will talked last week or even this weekend too about how he thrives in these environments under pressure. Said, I love the pressure. I work well in that environment. I've worked really hard on making myself calm in the race car. And that's all starting to pay off for him here. Things out of his control, yes, have put him in this position. But they are doing everything that they can on the 12 team to keep themselves in the fight.
I heard him say that. Are you buying it? Does everyone love pressure?
I mean, look, I think if he had a full race lead in the championship right now, he'd enjoy that more. But look, man, these are professional athletes. They're competitors. They got to thrive under pressure.
Well, right now, Points As They Run has Will Power in play for a 3rd championship. Plenty more to come, though, from the Milwaukee Mile. All-season race fans have had the chance to win one of 3 new Corvettes, courtesy of Hy-Vee. Tune in to the IndyCar finale in Nashville in 2 weeks to find out who will be the final winner. Scan the QR code on your screen to learn more. First pit stops are starting, even with some of those up front. Alexander Rossi is one of those that has stopped. And the race leader and now championship leader, Will Power, Dylan, is coming to you.
Alexander Rossi was the first one to pit a lap ago, and as suspected, that kind of brings everybody down into the pits. This will make a 4-stop strategy for some of these teams possible. You see McLaughlin at the top of the screen, Will Power down on the bottom, Georgia.
And Scott McLaughlin just came in, one of those takers on pit lane. Yesterday, Kyle Moore told me they were battling pretty heavy understeer, which could be the case today, as why Power had better pace than them, but nonetheless, tires and shell fuel.
Power beats out McLaughlin. That's the same order. Here's Santino Ferrucci, who finished 4th yesterday. Best result for that team, that driver this season. 2nd best result for Ferrucci's career. He's up near pit out, winning the pole at Portland last week, continuing that remarkable season. Floyd, for the first time in well over a decade, with a chance to be top 10 in the championship. Let's see where Ferrucci comes out and how much will fresh Firestones matter, James.
There was a slow little holdup on the left front, and then he reached for the wing. I don't think he got there in time, so the adjustment Santino wanted wasn't quite there. But guys, after a race, last night, everybody knows the score. The pit stop and the windows a lot more condensed than what we saw yesterday. The strategy's very much in line. 250-lap race.
Big moment from Will Power. Sorry, James, he walked it up the track. That was dicey.
what you got to do. You got to push hard on these outlaps, though. You got to try to maximize that new tire when you've got it. Connor Daly, we see in the pits. He pit from the lead, stayed out a little bit longer. But again, 250-lap race. If you're going to force stop it, it is 50-lap stints.
There he goes past Catherine Legg, back to the lead. But boy, 1 lap ago in that corner, he almost lost it.
And look at Rossi. So Rossi's done a good job by being the first guy. That undercut sort of worked as we look back at that replay. A little wiggle there. I talked to a lot of drivers that said, hey, yesterday we were all loose. We were wiggling and four-wheel sliding off of 2 and off of 4 more often than not. These IndyCars an absolute handful late in a tire stint.
So first stops are complete. Let's look at who was the best. Our pit stop differential is powered by NTT.
Well, the number 12 team has dominated the pit stop competition points all season, doing it once again. But McLaughlin better on pit lane in the box. Let's watch this. Here's where things got way loose, James. That is gnarly.
That is big. Full out of the throttle. Healthy dose of opposite lock there, trying to save it. That's just not. That's not normally a common thing in an IndyCar on an oval, but this weekend in Milwaukee, we have seen a whole lot of it as we see now.
Slide job.
Whoa, little contact.
I don't know if they touched, but they almost did, and that would not be good for Marcus Ericsson 2 days in a row to be side by side and end up crashing like he did with Joseph Newgarden yesterday. Ferrucci went in there with authority and just knew that he was going to have to walk the car up the track.
Colton Herta is the biggest mover since the start of the race. He's plus 10, and Graham Rahal has advanced 10 positions so far. And what's going on with Connor Daly in the pit lane and sitting there in a caution because David Malukas is slowing. Mechanical issue.
Emergency mode is being yelled over the radio. That's a switch that kind of overrides a lot of the fail-safes on the sensors on the car that hopefully allows you to get some control back, whether it's throttle control, gearbox.
Boy, for this early in the race, James, we saw the issues with Pelot, with Armstrong, with Nolan Siegel, Connor Daly.
Here, do I try to get it down?
David Malukas. They all have a strong electrical smell about them.
So no big impact on pit cycles. Everyone in play just recently stopped. We're under a caution again from the Milwaukee Mile. It's great to be back at the Milwaukee Mile for the second half of the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s. Devin Lee, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe, Georgia Hinneberry, and Dylan Welch. We are under caution for a mechanical issue for David Malukas. Here's a look at Linus Lundqvist, who unfortunately is not up front where he was, but is still in the fight, 14th in the race. And American Legion is dedicated to helping veterans through their toughest times by creating an outlet for vets to be the one to ask, listen, and reach out for help. Learn more at www.betheone.org. Chip Ganassi Racing has been heavily involved in this program to try to help our veterans, and we can help our veterans as well. Okay, the championship has been turned on its head, and there are many other developments today, and mechanicals aplenty. What's going on with Connor Daly, Georgia?
Well, Connor Daly still sits on pit lane. Let's hear what the team had to say about it.
Just constant clutch slip. I can't engage any gear. There's nothing. I can shift gears, but there's no engagement. It's just slipping constantly. Oh, you got out? I'm in first gear, dude. I have no drive.
Yeah, and I just talked to Ricardo Juncos to check in and confirm that, and he said we just don't know what it is yet. We don't know if it's the engine, but we will update when we get a chance.
By the way, we also saw Nolan Siegel of Arrow McLaren on pit lane earlier, and the report is gearbox issues for him, and he is, at least as of now, out of the race in many, many laps. The 66 Arctic Wolf Auto Nation car, Malukas, has been able to get back to pit lane.
Well, it looks like the crew is surprised he was there. The car was stopped and no one was coming over the wall. Like, oh, hey, Dave's here. We should probably go say hi.
He's 6 laps down, unfortunately.
These are bizarre issues. If you just think about the totality of the racing season this year,
for sure.
I mean, all of a sudden, some appear to be mechanical, some appear to be electrical. Either way, it'll be one to go at the line as Will Power continues to lead.
Well, look, these restarts have been a lot of fun, so grab your popcorn. It's been an exciting one so far. We've got more action coming up here in a second.
And here's what Will Power thinks about his car so far.
The car, Will? The car's pretty good. Little loose off a 2, push off a 4, within range. Definitely better than yesterday for getting off the corner.
Getting set to restart again. Will Power can be the championship leader, possibly if he wins the race, but there's still a scenario where Palou takes the championship lead to Nashville with attrition. He's still in the race, many laps down. Time to go again for Milwaukee. That's Alexander Rossi in the papaya white and black car behind. Third is Scott McLaughlin. Don't forget about Pato O'Ward on the charge at 4th.
Just looking at that left front wing here for Pato O'Ward as we ride on board thanks to Aero. Doesn't look like there's any damage, maybe just a little bit more vibration with the left front end fence as Santino Ferrucci, I think there, just did another big slide job going into turn 3.
Snookered Pato by using Kevin Simpson as a pick, fired it in there. We've seen that move a couple times now out of Santino over the last day and a half, and he is still hanging it up top. Let's take a look back at the restart from the 14's perspective, getting a look at what he did. That's Stingray Rob immediately in front of him in that white and pink machine. No surprise there, Townsend, all up top all day long.
Yeah, but brilliant stuff once again, 2 days in a row from Ferrucci. Now he's got the big draft on Pato O'Ward. Gonna use it deep in on the brakes. And boy, you're taking a big leap of faith, but he's making it work, Dylan.
And he just came on the radio on that yellow and said, the first stint I was struggling to be aggressive on corner entry, but the changes we made have the car much more underneath me now. So I think you saw that there. He looked pretty confident on corner entry.
Ferrucci might be in play for a win today. More lap traffic ahead. This is Graham Rahal just in front of him. Ferrucci runs 4th in the race.
Rahal currently listed 15th, already a lap down. Looking out of the back of the Hendrickson on board at Ferrucci there, trying to get around the lap car. Again, no command blue flag rules on ovals, so you've just got to deal with this lap traffic, and that was one of the big difference makers yesterday. You could see the cars that had it and the cars that didn't in dirty air.
I talked to Graham Rahal this morning. He said we're just not very good at the start, but at the end of the tire stints, he felt pretty confident. So if he can hang on and get there as Marcus Ericsson inside of Christian Lundgaard, they almost get together.
Oh, that's close. Those two are clear. Good friends in Indianapolis. The Delaware Life Machine from Andretti Global there making moves. He had a great race going yesterday until an incident in turn 2. Him and Joseph Newgarden having contact, both ending up in the wall, but that guy's really looking for a strong result today, and he's on the move too. He started all the way down in 16th position, so big moves early from a heavily repaired race car for Ericsson.
Kevin, just 76 laps into this, and already Will Power has lapped up to 14th. Rasmussen, the last car on the lead lap.
Who's doing really well in his first non-Indianapolis 500 oval start. He was just drafted in at the beginning of the week to finish the season at number 20 for Ed Carpenter Racing. This is the leader, Will Power, who could go to Nashville as the championship leader if he wins and leads the most lap. Palou would need to finish 20th, and they would be tied, and that is a possibility. With Malukas out for the moment, Daly having problems, that would get Palou up to 22nd, so more attrition could take it even to the finale.
Oh boy. Pato O'Ward almost losing the back end. He went for a pretty aggressive downshift mid-corner, Georgia, and then spun up his Chevy coming off of turn 4.
Yes, he did, and I just checked in with the team to check on that front wing from the potential damage off the first initial start, and they said there's a little bit of damage on the wing, but they didn't change it and they didn't replace anything. There's no vibration on the 5 as well.
Ward is through Rahal. To now be able to try to set his sights on Ferrucci up ahead in 4th. Colton Herta is still trying to get by Lundgaard a lap down. Christian Lundgaard has also, like the Rahal cars, been struggling this weekend, but somehow salvaged the 9th yesterday. Yellow came out at the right time. He said, car wasn't particularly very good. We honestly got a little bit lucky, but took advantage of the brakes. So plenty of action in play here at the Milwaukee Mile, and Will Power is in front as we get set to crown a champion in 2 weeks. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix has moved to the Nashville Super Speedway. This year's season finale will be the fastest and most exciting on the oval. Get your tickets now for September 14th and 15th as we crown the NTT IndyCar Series champion. It is 2 weeks from today. It's full day motorsport today with NBC Sports on USA. From one historic track, the Milwaukee Mile, we go to Darlington. The Southern 500 is right after us. Bubba Wallace is on the outside looking in, needs to make something happen to make the playoffs, and he's going to start on the pole. A contender with problems. That's been a theme today. Pato Award won yesterday, and he is sitting on pit lane.
His Arrow McLaren crew looking at the back end of that race car, engine cover off. Have to be some sort of driveline issue. Is this maybe another electrical problem, as the crew members probably feel pretty helpless in this situation, James? It's one of these things where it's likely computer, hybrid, something's going on where they really can't deal with it where they sit. As Pato Award's going to get out. Let's take a look at a replay and listen.
Have an issue, we need the box. Slow by 50. All clear. What's your speed? Pit in.
Yeah, so nothing you can hear wrong with the driveline or engine or anything like that. So kind of leads to speculate that maybe there is something.
And all of this misfortune just plays to this guy, Alex Palou, seemingly totally out of this race, but they went back to the garage area. They're 27 laps down, and Kevin, anytime somebody drops out here in a few more laps, he'll gain another championship point back on Will Power.
But Connor Daly is back in the race, 13 laps down, so that's one position that it looked like Palou might inherit soon. But for now, he is sitting in 23rd, with Pato is going to cycle up to 22nd. We need to get up to 20th the way things go now to take the championship lead to Nashville. But regardless of what happens, it looks like, unless something goes wrong, which it certainly could, for Will Power, we are in for a fight in 2 weeks at the Nashville Super Speedway.
What's going to happen here as Will Power comes up to lap Alex Palou? How aggressive is Palou going to be to try to hold the number 12 car back? Dylan.
Well, look, so we know Alex and the 10 team are pros, right? I want to go back to a message that Barry Wanzer conveyed to Alex when he pulled back on the racetrack. He said, don't interfere with anybody. The track is busy. Let's just go out here and run the rest of our race and run some laps. So I don't think it's going to be anything wild from the 10. Expect them to be pretty respectful the rest of the day.
Yeah, that's the way that those guys go racing, and that's what you really need to see as Power goes by, clears the 10. They can't gain anything on track by making moves, making passes. They just have to clock those laps, and I don't want to say wish for misfortune on others, but capitalize on anything that does happen to any of the competitors, like what just happened to Pato Award, who's caught up with Georgia.
Yesterday's race winner retired from this race. Pato, have you been able to assess what happened to the 5?
Gearbox. Gearbox is gone. We're still looking into it, but yeah, bummer, real bummer.
Thanks, Pato.
Will Power is in. Scott McLaughlin is following him. Top 2 in the race. Dylan.
And Alexander Rossi just pitted a lap ago, so he was the first one to pit on this cycle, as well as on the first one. So that brings everybody else in. Here's Will Power. Heard him talk about the car being free. It continued to build looser for Power, so expect a front wing change, maybe a small one for the 12.
He'll beat McLaughlin out.
Everybody on this 4-stopper now. This is a little different than yesterday, where everybody was on a 3-stopper, as Colton Herta, who lost a left front tire that was not secure late in the race, had a great finish, and they have, I understand it, replaced that left front tire changer today, James, for Colton Herta in the Gamebridge car.
You see a couple quick stops happening right now, but this is it. Rossi is getting all of these pit cycles started by being the first car in. We talked about the even 50-lap stints. Obviously, we were just a little bit short on that. Rossi coming in on 96. You can make it on fuel. You can make it on tires. You can stretch a couple laps a stint. That last stint's going to end up being the longest if you keep playing this game of coming in first. And like yesterday, as we ride on board with Mission Foods with Alex Rossi, it's almost the race to be the first car to pit last.
Well, what seems to be the case today, and maybe it's the hotter temperatures as Santino Ferrucci comes to pit lane, is everybody's going for the four-stop go-fast strategy, Dylan. They don't seem to want to hang out on old tires, hanging on to their slower race cars. They're going to want to try to do it on pace, it seems.
Yeah, and I think part of that is just due to the track conditions. I think the track temp is probably warmer today just because the sun is out baking on this surface, and it has affected the handling of some of these race cars. Front wing change for Ferrucci, 4 tires and shell fuel for him.
One of the things these teams have to deal with is yesterday, as a twilight race, the track started hot. It was getting cooler. It was changing that way. Now, with the start time that we've got, it's starting cooler, and actually it's gaining track temp right now. So it's changing the complete opposite way. That's going to be something that the teams and drivers have to take into consideration when making these adjustments.
Rossi, unfortunately, got trapped in a lot of 3-wide lap traffic there with the blend battle. Power McLaughlin back to the front. Rossi there in 4th. Hy-Vee still has to make his next pit stop, but Kevin Team Penske still leads on the exchange.
And all of the contenders have made their second stops. So let's see how the top 2 did. Our pit stop differential powered by NTT. This time it powers 12 team quicker.
No surprise that the team that leads and I think has secured the pit stop championship for the season got it done in time in box. Big credit to the Verizon 12 team. Fast Guns, I think it's 3 years in a row they're at the top.
Power in front, has one more lap car to deal with, and let's see, Townsend, what he's been working with and against here in the last little while.
Yeah, Rasmussen and Stingray Rob there, jamming him up a little bit, and then you see the orange and white Alexander Rossi car kind of trapped behind 2 that were too wide.
He's very slow ahead. Rasmussen low, 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 all clear.
There was something like 4 lap cars in between Rossi and these 2 drivers here who he's battling with right now for those top spots. And you see Will's making holes, McLaughlin just going with him.
One inside.
Heads up driving from Rasmussen. He's got cars outside, inside. He's the meat in the sandwich there.
For Will Power, it's so dicey right there. You're hoping the rookie Rasmussen sees you, knows you're there, knows you're coming to the outside. If you could, you'd pull your elbows and shoulders in on that race car to try to, excuse me, pardon me, get between him and the wall.
And we talk a lot about the relationship between the spotter and the driver and the role that the spotters are playing up on the top of the grandstands there. That's a key moment that shows that example. Rasmussen getting the word from his spotter up there as we see Lundqvist now into pit lane for Chip Ganassi. But yeah, you've got to earn your money today as a spotter, making sure that you're giving your driver all the information with how much side-by-side racing we're seeing right now.
See some damage there to the left front main plane of the number 8 car, presumably from that initial start accident. So Power leads by a second. Rossi 5 seconds back from McLaughlin. That's the top 3. Ferrucci pretty close there to Rossi. Jack Hy-Vee still 5th.
Clear, clear.
Nice little move from Colton Herta into 3, Kev.
In 7th right now, but getting through traffic. We are down to 10 on the lead lap. Rinus VK would be the next victim trying to stay. On the Hy-Vee on board with Christian Lundgaard.
Oh, 3 wide off of 2. Dixon making it work on the high side. Pietro Fittipaldi, God, you feel for him. He's trying to not get in people's way. Or is that Lundgaard? Sorry, that's Christian Lundgaard. These Rahal cars just struggling. Fittipaldi a few positions back on the track there.
And with all this green flag running now, you just know that offline, all that spent rubber is accumulating. Factored heavily into some of the racing yesterday as drivers do not want to get high. That PNC shot from Scott Dixon, you can't see the marbles, but they're there. Pillow comes in for a stop on lap 110. Car working just fine now as he soldiers on to try to pick up a few points.
Georgia, tell us what's happening with Scott McLaughlin.
Well, Scott McLaughlin rides in the second position after that second pit stop of the day. Let's hear what his team is saying to him.
Okay, as you saw, what's happening in here is this is turned into Iowa. It's not about fuel. It's going to be 2 more stops. It's all about tires. We'll just keep doing what we're doing, just like we did there. We'll come and cover when we need to.
And now here's something interesting to consider. Scott McLaughlin only did 3 stops yesterday when a lot of the front runners did 4. So what that means is out of the 13 sets that these teams get over the course of the weekend, they have an extra set, which if we were to get a late race caution, at least they have options. So he's sitting in a good spot.
Thank you, Georgia. That's good intel. And there are some that are a little bit short on fresh tires, may need to use some used sets today. Scott McLaughlin chasing his teammate Will Power, who is chasing a championship. Under caution now at the Milwaukee Mile, and the leaders are coming in. Will Power back in play for a championship, but Scott McLaughlin, that blue Gallagher car, is going to hit his marks first. Dylan.
Will Power is in as well. They'll change 4 tires and just a quick fill of fuel. A little bit late on, it looked like maybe the back tires, but still a 6.6 second stop for Power.
And Scott McLaughlin jumped his teammate Will Power, who needs all the points he can score for the championship. How will Team Penske deal with this?
That was, I think, largely due to Power having to drive around the crew of Santino Ferrucci. He was in his box getting service, and you just saw that little hiccup, that little delay getting the power down, and that's what allowed McLaughlin to get ahead.
Let's take a look at the reason why we're under caution. Stingray Robb there in the Goodhart Chevy, the number 41 AJ Foyt car. We're on board with Kirkwood, but have a look at Stingray Robb up ahead. Big old snap, tank slapper off of turn 2. He's able to lock it down on the brakes and keep that thing out of the wall. That was really close to a big one.
Pretty similar to what we saw out of the 51 of Catherine Legge yesterday. Also kept it off the wall, kept it rolling. Unfortunately, Robb couldn't get the power on his own, couldn't get it restarted, so 3 laps down right now for Stingray. Tough break. This is another car that's in that battle for the leader circle final position with the number 20 on your screen in the blue and dark blue.
And with Rossi and Dixon staying out, that currently puts Will Power 4th in the running order. And because McLaughlin beat him out of the pits as they run right now, Alex Palou now leading the championship by those 16 points. So Kevin, this thing's going to ping pong its way all the way to Nashville.
8 out, so 7 is the leader, the 9 is P2. Scotty is P3, you are P4. Okay, copy.
This is an interesting split in the strategy. Those drivers weren't even at half stint yet, really, but they had an extra set to burn. And now Rossi Dixon going off strategy by staying out.
Let's watch this pit stop again and watch Will Power up there with Santino Ferrucci coming in a little bit later right in front of him. You just have to weave a little bit wider, and that's the difference, and that's how McLaughlin beat him out.
We're hearing not all smooth on the 14's pit stop. Oh, the wheel nut came out of the gun on the right rear. You see it sitting there.
Wait a second.
Did it?
Can we see that one more time? I saw a wheel nut on the ground. I didn't see the mechanic put a wheel nut back in the gun.
Maybe we missed.
Maybe that was somebody else's wheel nut.
Pay attention this time. So they normally have one on their belts. There's one on the ground there.
Yes, so where did the spare wheel nut come from?
Maybe that came off his belt.
That's what it is. It's his spare wheel nut came loose. Good call, Kev. I thought I was watching David Copperfield for a second.
So Ferrucci lost a couple of positions. So, if you joined us late, where you been? You've missed a lot. It started even before we went green. Alex Palou entered the day with a 43-point lead on the championship, which is almost a full race, but he slows to a stop on the pace laps.
Electrical gremlins were the issue when we finally tried to get restarted. The start was called off. That led to a chain reaction, taking out pole sitter Joseph Newgarden after contact from Linus Lundqvist into Armstrong. Penalty for Lundqvist and out on the spot for the number 2.
So Joseph Newgarden climbs out 2 days in a row well early as Alex Palou and his DHL team regroup, get him back on the track to salvage whatever they can. And Will Power made this lead on his teammate, this pass for the lead on his teammate. And then just now in pit lane, Scott McLaughlin, the thirsty threes, drinking.
If Power can win the race, he could take the championship lead to the finale 2 weeks from today at the Nashville Superspeedway on NBC. If he does not win the race, Alex Palou, even 28 laps down, could maintain the advantage, but it is likely just about to be pretty close to winner take all coming up in a couple of weeks. What can Power do here? How will his teammate deal with him right in front? McLaughlin in third, still mathematically alive, but 64 points back, points as they run. And there's Scott Dixon. The best way he can help his teammate Alex Palou is to keep those Penske's from behind. And Alexander Rossi has not won in a couple of years. He desperately wants a win as he tries to secure his future and make sure he is set to continue in IndyCar at a desired destination. After we're done, we've got more great racing. Playoff cutoff race tonight will determine a regular season champion and find out who the 16 are for the playoffs. Bubba Wallace needs to make it happen to get in. He will start on the pole. All right, gather it up here. Alexander Rossi controls the field. He gets a good jump. Remember, there's still lap traffic to deal with, so Dixon is going to have to get by in that orange and blue car, trying to get by there for second in the race, but he's not second in line.
The second in line was Connor Daly, using the Connor Daly line up top to get around the lap car of Catherine Legg.
Oh, here comes Santino Ferrucci again. 3 wide, a crash. Graham Rahal.
Hard into the wall for Rahal. Spun all the way around 360 degrees.
He got absolutely drilled.
And was that the 20th Christian Rasmussen around there?
Well, when Ferrucci went inside, it made it 3 wide, and then all I saw was smoke. Let's take a quick look.
There is Rasmussen, the blue 20 that got in the back, but there are a lot of factors involved in this one. We'll sort it out and go racing again from Milwaukee. You're watching USA's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Elf, the beauty company that stands with every eye, lip, and face. Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, September 14th and 15th. Tickets on sale now. Advance Auto Parts. This is how we advance. And by Hy-Vee. This racing season, help Hy-Vee reach their goal of 100 million meals by visiting Hy-Vee.com. Under caution for the 4th time at the Milwaukee Mile. The second half of the doubleheader and the return of IndyCar, and this is why we are under caution. Again, Graham Rahal and Christian Rasmussen came together.
Not sure what led to Rasmussen getting into the back of Graham.
Inside, 3 wide.
Yeah, Graham's obviously slowing down. When you're in the middle of the middle of 3 wide is rarely the place you want to be. It rarely works out well for that driver. So you're slowing down a little bit. Still cold tires.
For rookie Christian Rasmussen, he was making a move on Colton Herta, just ducked to the inside, and I'm sure he didn't expect Graham to be trying to back out of a 3 wide as Graham shares his very strong opinion on the matter with Rasmussen. I understand both perspectives, but certainly Rasmussen will be under review.
There are 3 lap cars up at the front. Second in line is Connor Daly. Many laps down. Linus Lundqvist is up there. Catherine Legg as well. So Scott Dixon has 1 car to navigate to be able to attack Rossi. Let's go again from the Milwaukee Mile. And Will Power is around. He was in play to take the championship lead.
Go.
And he's made contact, but he may not be out.
He got it refired. That's huge.
Unbelievable. A spin on the restart. Very little contact. I don't think any damage on the nose of the number 12. Unreal. He had lost 2 spots on that last restart. He was running down in 6th.
What happens here? He just loses it on his own, mid-corner, accelerating there for the restart. Stays in the throttle to try to keep the car low off the wall and comes back around. Let's ride on board and listen.
Are you ready? 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 Go. Green. Careful. Just save it. On the brake. All right, go, 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 go. You got to keep it running. Keep it running. Go, 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 go.
He knows he's got to keep it running.
Well, remember, there is no hybrid restart on ovals, so in road courses, that could be in play. It is deactivated.
My favorite part is when he's backwards, covered in smoke. Save it. Just go ahead and save it. The instruction.
The way he was throttling that thing was awesome. That was not all luck. That was definitely some skill from Power.
Kevin, this is the roulette table of all oval races today. Look at the points now.
10 minutes ago, points as they ran favored Will Power. Now Alex Palou, it looked like disaster, still has a very comfortable margin, but Power is still in play with a quick car, and he is on the lead lap.
He's got a pit flat spot on those tires, I imagine, but this is going to play into it because he did take that other yellow where like Rossi and Dixon did not. There's a tire shortage eventually, Dylan.
Yes, it's right now. This is the problem. This is their last set of sticker tires if they choose to put these on, and I need to walk up here and check and see what they're going to do. But they've only got one set left. They probably only had one more stop to make, so they're going to put a set of used Firestone tires on here. They'll make a front wing adjustment just for safety for Power, but they had to save their last set of sticker tires for when they make their last fuel stop here in just a little while.
Yeah, that's the right move. Save that better rubber for the end. This is probably their qualifying set, Townsend, so not a lot of laps on it, but some very hard laps on it.
What he needs to do is just on this stint on used tires, just stay on the lead lap here. There are only 11, with Will Power being the 11th on the lead lap. Hang in.
We'll go lap down otherwise.
Hang in there and get to those stickers, and you can probably get yourself back into the top 5. Power escapes big time by keeping that thing running and rolling straight.
He's going to be on the lead lap, but he is going to be at the back of the line.
We're going to do a main plane.
They just said we would like to do a main plane. Are they coming back in? So they have front wing damage, so he is going to come down. But I believe we're going green next time by.
I don't know if I like that call. If in fact it's going to go green, that's going to put Power deep into the clutches. Our lights are off in here.
Pace car's pulling off. This seems like a bizarre call from the 12 team.
Very strange. That front wing looks fine.
And the start is not going to happen this time.
Don't worry.
Why?
Try and get it done.
The order was not correct.
Will Power just
dodged it.
Gets super lucky, but he's going to go a lap down here.
Coming, there's start finish.
But he's still got to hustle out to be able to stay on the lead lap. It's more difficult to attach the front wing now with the cables involved.
I don't know, man. Pato O'Ward clocked his front wing pretty hard at that start. He stayed out there. It was fine.
Power's wing looked fine. In fact, the right front tire changer gave it the old heave-ho, and it seemed like it was thumbs up. I'm surprised that they made the replacement here.
And now he's very out of position, but the green flag's waving.
Alexander Rossi takes them back to green. Scott Dixon is going to get by Connor Daly. Many laps down. That blue car is Scott McLaughlin. He is third in the race, but has some more traffic to deal with.
Look at Ferrucci squeezing too high there, as Christian Rasmussen will get a penalty. Look at Rinus VK, his teammate, up the inside of Kiffin Simpson.
For that last caution, Christian Rasmussen is going to be penalized, a drive-through, and Will Power is now in recovery mode.
Look at
he
this.
is a lap down, fighting the two championship contenders, not on the lead lap at this point. Alex Palou is 28 laps down, looking for attrition to continue to score more points. He runs 22nd in this race.
We'll let him go. Let Alex Palou go as Colton Herta now with his teammate Marcus Ericsson.
Oh, three wide, Ferrucci on the low side, Ericsson in the middle, and Colton Herta now makes it 2 wide, side by side, Ferrucci down low, Herta up high.
That was a great move from Herta. Mid-corner coming off of 4, deciding to pull out driver's right, trying to make the move on Ericsson, pulling it off. These two still digging deep, side by side off of 4, traffic in front, and Ferrucci gets the spot.
Is this a flat oval or is this Texas Super Speedway?
Watch Ferrucci, he wants more. Almost gets into the side of Lundqvist there as Ferrucci is fearless.
Up to P4 for the number 14, Linus Lundqvist lap down. Not for position, neither is Rasmussen in front. I think he still has to come in and serve his penalty.
I think Ferrucci just got into the side of Christian Rasmussen.
All right, good work.
He is just chewing up the field. stuff that would make A.J. Foyt so proud of his young driver on board here with Herta.
AJ's, I'm sure, watching at the ranch in Texas. His driver finished 4th yesterday, finished 3rd last year in the Indianapolis 500 for AJ, and won a pole last weekend, is 4th. He's going to look up ahead. We look up ahead to Ferrucci from the Gamebridge on board of Colton Herta, and he's got some connections that know how to win here. Michael won 5 times, Mario won 4 times.
Remember, Rossi and Dixon did not take that last pit opportunity where McLaughlin and Ferrucci did. So McLaughlin and Ferrucci have the tire advantage. And Georgia, you're with the driver who was in the middle of a lot of excitement, but not a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're right about that. And that was a big hit. So Graham, first and foremost, are you okay?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I think the hardest impact was getting hit from behind. The actual hitting of the wall wasn't too bad, but I mean, a fitting, kind of finish to a weekend that just seemingly can't give up. I mean, it's been brutal for us as a team. I feel bad for Hendrickson and for all of our partners. It's just been one of those weekends to forget. But yeah, I mean, obviously, just restart like that on old tires. Everybody around you've got stickers. Guys need to drive with their heads up. And unfortunately, Rasmussen hit me yesterday and flattened my left front. Just absolutely dive bombed me, drove right into the side of me, flattened my tire. So it's very characteristic of him. It's disappointing. A drive-through, I don't think really will deliver the message that he probably needs at this stage, but he's a young guy. He'll learn from all this, or I hope he does. And for us as a team, this has just been a brutal weekend, so we've got a lot of soul searching to do to get better. These cars were the most difficult oval cars I've driven in my life in the last 2 days, and so today was about survival, frankly, for us, and we didn't survive, which is disappointing.
Thanks, Graham.
There is a long list of drivers and cars and machinery that have not survived today. Alexander Rossi is in front here at the Milwaukee Mile. You're watching USA's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Firestone Tires for redefining limits. NTT, official sponsor and technology partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. And by 5 Hour Energy, proud partner energizing RLL Racing. 5 Hour Energy, tastes great and fixes tired fast. Today has been a wild ride, and we've got more to come with Southern 500 later tonight on USA. Kevin Lee, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe, Dylan Welch, and Georgia Hinneberry. Just 2 to go in the IndyCar Championship. It's pretty safe coming in with Alex Palou. He had a mechanical at the start of the race, is still running 28 laps down. It looked like Will Power was going to take over. He just spun on his own in a restart. He is a lap down, but still in play, running in 12th. And this is the lead. The legend, Scott Dixon, still chasing A.J. Foyt for the most ever, trying to make his way past Alexander Rossi in that white and papaya car on board the PNC Bank on board as Rossi deals with lap traffic ahead.
And guys, when we get crazy races like today from the drop of the green flag, this guy always seems to make it happen as he goes to the high side of Alexander Rossi. We didn't talk much about Dixon in the first half, but I'll bet we'll be talking about him down the stretch.
You just watch on that Firestone telemetry how smooth he's got to be on the throttle coming off, and McLaughlin now on the outside. How about that? Scott on Scott, Kiwi on Kiwi. He gets that position, and now he starts chasing down Rossi.
And he got by Stingray Robb immediately, so McLaughlin is still in play, and that's how he could help.
And here comes Colton Herta. Herta just got past Ferrucci as Rossi works his way through lap traffic. Now remember, Dixon and Rossi, older tires to what McLaughlin and Colton Herta have on their cars, and we might start to see it penalizing Dixon. I think we do. Look at Ferrucci. The turn 3 slide job that's probably the 10th time he's done that today.
It's a 20-lap advantage tire-wise for McLaughlin, Herta, Ferrucci.
Oh, man. He has taken big risks, is Santino Ferrucci on corner entry right there, but he's pulling it off.
It's Jack Harvey in the white and green 18, who has done a nice job to stay on the lead lap, just losing it now to the top 5. Up front, let's talk about Alexander Rossi there, flashing through the screen. He's not won in 2 years. He has 1 win in the last 5 years, and we don't know where he's going. He is a free agent. Some of his options have dried up as to what's left. How better to make your case that you need to continue paying me to drive your cars by winning in a fierce battle like this.
Yeah, it's a great job interview happening on the racetrack right here as he cuts through some of this lap traffic. Car's obviously strong. Teammate Pato O'Ward won the race yesterday. And look at Catherine Legg cutting the air off of McLaughlin a little bit there. McLaughlin's going to get checked up a bit, but Rossi doing a great job on these older tires. Like you said, we talked about the free agents at the top of the show. This is for sure the most qualified, best resume of the drivers available.
And the most expensive. I mean, a lot of the teams with vacancies are trying to figure out how can we pay Alexander Rossi next year. Well, he is putting on a good display that shows he might be worthy of that big check. And I love this part of the stint, Kevin, because it's racing like motocross, meaning the lines are changing every lap. Drivers are getting creative, and Dixon decides, I'm ready for new skin.
Dixon was fighting for the lead. He had hit it earlier than the others up front, like McLaughlin and Herta, so he bails. And now Rossi is coming in, Dylan.
He had asked for a front wing change that they went one way on to take that back out of the car on this stop, so we'll watch to see if they make that adjustment. Shell fuel and 4 tires for Rossi. There were a couple scenarios potentially where they might have been able to make it on one more stop, but this is just going to be too far out. I think they'll have to come down a second time for Rossi.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Dill. It's just 88 laps remaining. That's way too much to try to stretch. Even if the tires could make it, that's tough to do on fuel.
That's why I think McLaughlin and Ferrucci, those guys did take their pit along with Colton Herta at 116. I think they can stretch this and make it on just one more stop here. McLaughlin would need to be able to get to about lap 185.
Look at this.
Rossi out of the pits. He managed to stay ahead of Scott Dixon though, but coming out on fresh tires, but going slower. Lap traffic, chaos down at 3.
McLaughlin is in, Georgia.
McLaughlin's going to kind of start this cycle, one of the first to do it. They're going to put a fresh pair of tires on Shell fuel and he's down and away.
So there goes that theory. Scott McLaughlin will have to still make one more stop. It's a straight up battle between McLaughlin, Rossi, Dixon, Herta, and Ferrucci.
And let's see how much this makes everyone else blink and come into the pits. What's Herta going to do? What's Ferrucci going to do? What's Ericsson going to do? Do they bite? Not wanting to get passed by the undercut.
Not if you're Colton Herta or Ferrucci right now. You've got clean air for now. I think they'll wait till they get to lap traffic. Here comes Rossi.
Rossi mired in that lap traffic. That's such a good point, T-Bell. They have that clean air. Let's keep an eye on those lap times. My guess would be once Colton hits some traffic and starts going slower than what McLaughlin and Rossi are doing, that's when it would be time to come in.
Here comes Ferrucci, Dylan.
All these guys that were second on back starting to just cover whatever the race leader's doing. I thought Ferrucci and McLaughlin would be able to go longer, but they'll come down pit road here. Ferrucci's car has gotten better with each stop and each stint, so they're in a good spot right now for the 14.
Let's reset where the championship stands. Colton Herta is eventually going to have to stop again. Top 4 pitted on lap 116. Power is a lap down because of that spin on pit lane, and he needed to come in and change the front wing, but he topped off. 135 is his last stop. He needs a caution to get his lap back, or he needs to stay out longer. Can he possibly do it on one more stop and naturally get his lap back?
Yes, that's what's going to happen with Power. They'll try to stretch him past that lap 185, 190. But Colton Herta needs to make
Herta's losing. He's losing time with that kind of pace that we're seeing out of McLaughlin.
Is he saving fuel now? Is Colton trying to stretch this for another 15 laps and make it on one more stop? Have they switched up their strategy? Here comes Rossi.
Let's hope so, because that makes it a little more interesting seeing the two different approaches here. Herta, you can't really fight at that point. The tire difference so big.
In a way, with the tire degradation that Herta has, you almost save fuel automatically, right? You just have to lift early, big coast phase right here, and be really patient when you get back to the throttle pedal, which he's doing.
Dixon now will
outside
work to get his lap back. He recently stopped. So everybody needs one more.
They've all got to stop again.
That's what Rob Edwards is saying. They've all got to stop again.
That's 185. That's, I think, what they're doing here is trying to stretch Colton into that situation where he can make it on one more.
So he's 22 seconds ahead of Scott McLaughlin. That's essentially who he's racing. Can he maintain that time on older tires and saving fuel?
They can't maintain it, but at least if he can control it and keep it to 1
just
second,
stay in front. Yes.
Stay in front, then yeah, absolutely, races on. So two different approaches here. I'm surprised that Scott Dixon didn't try that as well. I mean, I guess where he and I forgot Rossi and him didn't pit, so he didn't have that opportunity. But I like this roll of the dice from the 26.
And so VK and Grosjean may be trying the same thing. They're on the same pit sequence. And remember, not everyone has enough sticker tires, so that plays into it.
I was going to say, I promise you VK's doing that because I know that they did not have enough tires coming into today's race. As we take a look back, Ferrucci on your right on board with Colton Herta. Little contact there as they try to get around the lap car.
Looks like 57 laps on
go about 12 more.
Colton Herta's tires. And that's what you want to hear from your driver. Yeah, that's fine. We're in good shape. He can hang on.
12 laps to go before they pit for the final time. This is going to get interesting.
Two very distinct strategies in play, and the championship is up for grabs here at the Milwaukee Mile. Welcome back to the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250, second half of the doubleheader, where Colton Herta leads Scott McLaughlin. Herta on a very different strategy, and Will Power still in play for the championship. Spun on a restart, went a lap down. Now he is 2 laps down because he just stopped not too long ago. Dylan, what's the plan for Power to try to get a little closer in that championship fight?
Well, remember, they were on used tires that most previous stint because of the spin. So Will did come down, put their last set of sticker tires on. That's a long stint, 75 to go. But I think this has to be their final stop simply because they don't have tires. So that's a big save. It's doable. Somebody went 73 laps yesterday, so I think it can be done, but it's going to be very tough. I'm really interested to see how the rest of this plays out because I don't think McLaughlin, Rossi, all those guys that pitted around lap 162, 64, they've got to make another stop. They can't go 88, 89 laps. So it's going to be interesting to just watch how this all plays out. Herta and VK as well in a pretty good spot to do it on one more.
Yeah, certainly not at the pace that they're running, Dylan. I mean, McLaughlin down to 11 seconds behind Herta. He's taken over 10 seconds out of that lead since the pit stop.
Rinus VK peels off to make his last stop.
But Herta's still looking good because
he's in range now.
We heard about 12 more laps from Rob Edwards. We got a few of those still to go. McLaughlin's not going to catch him before he makes that last stop, and then McLaughlin still has to make a stop. He'll be able to drive harder, use more fuel.
If Colton pits now, he's well within range. Made it to 185. It would be 65 laps to the finish.
He's losing a second a lap to McLaughlin.
He only needs to do it for another lap or two.
Maybe hanging out to see if they get a yellow.
Power, by the way, is going to get 1 lap back. He'll be a lap down and then conceivably more if he can make it to the end. A caution certainly would help his cause and get a wave around.
That was Santino Ferrucci up ahead. I mean, tell you what, Ferrucci just continues to do the dive bomb inside, and I mean, he's mastered it at this point. He's just picking people off with ease as he tries to catch up to the back end of Alexander Rossi, who's about 2 seconds ahead as Colton Herta's Gainbridge team gets ready on pit lane.
Everything you got to close up to the 7th car. We're not going to be on these tires long.
Remember, there was a bobble yesterday on pit lane, looking to make this, if possible, the final stop of the day, Georgia.
Now this is going to take him to the end. Colton Herta brings the 26 to the attention of his crew. A new left front tire changer on there. That's Neil Campbell. Rob Edwards asked him if he wanted any changes. He said no changes at all. They put stickers and fuel. He's down the way.
just got away with that. Problem on the outside front, but managed to kind of match fuel there. Tense moments for the 26 crew, but Colton Herta now underway. All the fuel he needs. Just got to push these next couple laps.
He comes out in a really great spot to be able to push, James. He's got perfectly clean air. His teammate Marcus Ericsson in front of him. So these next 3 or 4 laps are going to be lightning fast for Colton Herta. Good fortune in terms of where he blends out.
Yeah, look at that clean, open, beautiful racetrack in front.
Just hear how much of a difference it makes for sticker tires here. Listen how aggressively he can get into the throttle in turn 4. Rolls right into it like a qualifying lap.
There's something to keep.
They're going to go 65 to the end.
Yeah, those in front are going into pit, and Rob Edwards is telling him what he needs to do on the tires to make them last. Time lost on pit lane. If you kind of want to look at the gap and how far McLaughlin would need to get ahead to be able to come back out.
It's about 33 seconds time lost on pit lane. So right now, McLaughlin, a 21-second buffer. He would certainly come out behind Herta, but would have the fresher tires. Can he get through traffic? Can he make the pass done? That's a different question altogether, a tall order. But again, with the way this track's racing, if your car's good at traffic, you can make that happen. Can't say that was a strength of McLaughlin's earlier in the race. That was kind of where he was hurting compared to Power when they were racing for the lead.
Will Power is, at the moment, 2 laps down. Points as they run, 31 back. He has the 2 points in hand right now for most laps led, but if Scott McLaughlin leads 18 more laps, McLaughlin is going to take those points away from his teammate.
I'd say based on the way things are running, well, it depends when he pits. Ferrucci trying again. A little bit of a wiggle there. Loses the back end. Power's going to get a bit of a run.
Ferrucci once again sliding across the middle, sliding up the track. Ferrucci's probably ready for some tires at any time. Who's going to blink first here? Between McLaughlin, Rossi, and Ferrucci and Dixon.
Could anybody copy that, what he said?
Couldn't hear that one.
He sounded excited.
I'd be a lot more excited than that in these circumstances.
Okay, box.
And that was the call from Larry Foyt. Box. Ferrucci in the 14 will come to pit lane. Where will they blend out? Can they stay on the lead lap?
So AJ Foyt's driver is in. He's been running up in the front all weekend with daring moves on track. Dylan, we'll watch the last pit stop.
Well, and he's been in so much traffic the last couple laps. Think maybe you want to get him in here as soon as you can. The undercut has been strong, so want to take advantage of these final set of Firestone sticker tires that Ferrucci has. Said the balance has still been pretty good on his race car. That looked like maybe a small front wing change. He's down and away.
So he'll go a lap down there to McLaughlin, but McLaughlin, Rossi, Dixon all have to make their final stop as Ferrucci blends out.
We're going to look in relation to Herta.
I was going to say, that's what you got to look at.
Yeah, he's the first that we think can make it to the end.
Well, but being a lap down, you can't see on the timing and scoring what the actual time distance is. As Rossi's in the pits, Dylan.
They've stuck to their guns all day. Been committed to the 4-stop strategy from the very start. Alex wanted a small handling adjustment. Brian Barnhart said they'd do that with air pressure. Shell fuel, 4 tires for Rossi.
So he was running pretty close to Santino Ferrucci, and here comes the leader, McLaughlin.
5.7 seconds from the 7 crew. Georgia, what's the 3 got in store?
Well, this 3 pit crew has been on it all day long. This pit stop's going to take them all the way down to the end with 52 laps to go. It's going to be 4 tires. Shell fuel, we'll see what they're made of. And he is down the way.
5.8. 1/10 of a second difference between those two racing at it as we see the number 9 of Scott Dixon pitting now from up front. He's got a sticker set as well.
Calm and collected for the PNC team. He is down and away.
Not much fuel needed. You see that the fuel pro's being pulled before the tires are done. So this is the time that these pit crews really have to earn their money. No mistakes allowed, because that's just going to cost you precious lap time. As Herta now trying to manage some lap traffic. Christian Lundgaard on the outside.
He's got 9 seconds on McLaughlin in the lead, but this does not help Colton Herta if he has to race Christian Lundgaard too hard.
McLaughlin's got a decent bit of clean air in front of him.
So Herta
I'm trying to get you help, bud, but I'm not getting anywhere.
Yeah, the spotters are working. It's like the United Nations up there trying to negotiate as you see the Hy-Vee onboard out the back of Christian Lundgaard. In a lap and a half, Colton Herta just lost a second and a half.
Oh boy. 2 laps down is Christian Lundgaard. Sometimes you see the engine manufacturers get involved here. Both Honda Motors in the back of those things, but Herta getting the job done, Ferrucci style, slide job into 3.
You got some clear racetrack now. Use it, look after your tires.
And let's see
Everyone
what
is pitted now.
kind of lap times Colton Herta could do and compare them to McLaughlin, who's got a 7-second gap on Alexander Rossi.
What place are we?
What place are we?
P1. You have a 10-lap tire negative into the chasers.
That's not terrible. 10 laps is not the 20-lap disadvantage we saw earlier. With 48 to go, we got a race, boys.
So we think the final stops are done, but McLaughlin and Rossi have fresher Firestones. Can they get on the charge to catch up to the Gamebridge driver? Back at the Milwaukee Mile, and look at this. Scott McLaughlin has whittled 10 seconds away from Colton Herta. He's got fresher Firestones, and he is there to challenge for the race lead.
Fresher tires, more fuel to burn, and he's got the bit between his teeth. Almost a second a lap he was peeling out of the 26 of Colton Herta, and now he's right on his gearbox as they come up on lap traffic. It's going to be tough for Colton to hang on to this one. Not impossible, because we did talk about how McLaughlin was not the strongest car in traffic earlier. He's had a few pit stops to try to tune on that car, make some adjustments from inside the cockpit.
Certainly doesn't look easy for McLaughlin as the car loosened up on him between 3 and 4. He goes low here, looking for a run with clean air.
And eventually lap traffic will become in play. Jack Harvey is the car that is up in front. Colton Herta has never won on an oval. His best finish is 4th. Scott McLaughlin earlier this year, when he won an oval, said, I don't consider and didn't consider myself an IndyCar driver until I won on an oval. He's done it. The Gallagher Insurance onboard gives us the look as he splashes out a little bit wide.
Colton Herta shut down the inside line, but it's going to cost him. McLaughlin with the run up the inside. He'll have the point.
Side by side. How close do you want it? They almost touch. McLaughlin to the front of Milwaukee, and Herta fights right back on the outside. Herta regains the lead.
What a comeback on the outside from Colton. I don't think McLaughlin was expecting that at all. But man, what a strong run off of 4. McLaughlin trying to line it back up into 3.
Colton Herta took that pass like a hot poker to the face, and it woke him up in a big way. Here comes McLaughlin with another massive run off the corner.
I still can't believe how he managed to do that. McLaughlin was running a pretty wide line for being the car on the inside, trying to crowd Colton.
That is dicey down there in that low line.
And what this is doing is this is using a lot of that extra rubber that the Firestones on the 3 had, running in this dirty air, pushing this hard, but he's going to take another crack at it. Great run off of 4. In the draft, he pulls out.
Here comes McLaughlin
He's there. He got a wing
with
on
the
you.
Gamebridge on board. That's our view looking left.
By himself.
McLaughlin is clear, and he takes off.
Didn't leave Colton a whole lot of room to work with there. McLaughlin went right around the dark strip. As we understand, Linus Lundqvist might have gotten into the fence. But he continues to go.
That power needs to get a lap back. Slides up. How hard did he hit it?
He hit it. Definitely enough to bend it. Kind of the angle that he went in. It's a little bit rear first, but back up front.
All right, so McLaughlin now into lap traffic. And this will give a chance for Herta to catch up. I'll tell you who else is loving this. Alexander Rossi. Closing the gap.
Rossi, quickest car on track last time by. He's had a few of those in the last 10. Just knocking off laps strong in traffic. Ferrucci had a little moment. That checked him up. Dixon now looking down the inside. He's going to take fourth from the A.J. Foyt driver.
Something's going on with Ferrucci this stint where he is really struggling. Even straight off the pit stop with the fresh tires, he just hasn't had the same kind of pace. The question is, did Ferrucci start with fresh tires? It shows 24 laps on there. It looks like those were stickers, as the right rear toe link for Linus Lundqvist needs a lot of work after the contact with the turn 4 wall.
It had been such a great weekend, a lot of pace, finished up near the front yesterday, was penalized for the start. It was waved off. Lundqvist may not have gotten the message. He gets into his teammate Marcus Armstrong, who then made contact with a pole sitter, Joseph Newgarden. He was out, never started the race. The other big development was the championship leader, up 43 coming in. Alex Palou had a mechanical issue and did not start the race, began 28 laps down. He is still out there, and because of attrition, Palou is up to 20th. It looked like he might finish 27th at one point, and it looked like Will Power, who led 64 laps, still the most, was going to win the race and take over the championship lead, but now it is still a big advantage for Palou. There's still a chance for Power heading to Nashville in 2 weeks.
That's Scott Dixon sneaking by Marcus Ericsson, who runs 1 lap down in 8th. Big props to Roman Grosjean and Rinus VeeKay, the last 2 cars on the lead lap. Remember, Hunkos Hollinger just yesterday, their best ever team finish with Connor Daly in 3rd, and now Grosjean backing it up in the top 6.
And unfortunately, Connor Daly could not back up that performance. He had a mechanical issue and sat in the pits for a dozen-plus laps. He's back out, but 15 laps down. By the way, Connor got his first podium since 2016, as Palou has a little wiggle here at Milwaukee. His dad, Derek Daly, had his only IndyCar podium in 1987 at this track. Here's the leader.
Here's a huge incentive for Rinus VeeKay to try to stay on the lead lap. Maybe see if there's a late race yellow. And that is frustrating for a guy like Scott McLaughlin that would like nothing more than to simply breeze his way through some slower cars and cruise to another win.
Rossi is caught up to Herta. He's still got one more car in between. The white and orange, or papaya car, is Alexander Rossi with Arrow McLaren running 3rd. And he's got to look 2 cars up to the game bridge of Colton Herta. That's David Malukas in between them.
So Alexander Rossi, James, has taken 4 seconds off the lead of Scott McLaughlin in about the last 10 laps. 24 laps to go. If he can clear the Meyer-Shank lap car here and then get Colton Herta, I mean, there's plenty of time for him to pull this off.
Certainly, certainly. But what I don't like seeing...
Don't forget how good was his teammate Pato O'Ward at the end of the tire stint yesterday. Pato was the best car on track. We haven't really seen a proper full stint from anybody yet that deep in the field, and so Rossi could find himself in a really good spot.
And what I don't love about this is you got Dave Malukas there running 112 laps down in the middle of a podium fight as we got a yellow Stingray Robb in turn 2. That resets things for Rossi quite a bit.
There goes that gap for McLaughlin.
Sorry, guys.
And we're not sure if Power, thinking championship, was going to be able to get to the finish.
No, the car didn't turn. One out didn't turn and then push us into the gray.
That yellow helps his fuel, and it also gets him back on the lead lap.
Okay, so we've got 7 cars on the lead
because
lap
no
right
one's
now.
going to pit.
No one's going to stop,
yeah,
so there will
right.
be no lap coming back.
Why would nobody stop, though, if you're sitting on the lead lap? If you're Grosjean, VeeKay, do you take tires?
Only if you have them.
You don't need fuel, so you could run quality laps to the end if you have tires. Dylan, I wonder up and down pit lane, does anybody have anything left to use?
I don't think so. I just heard on the 14 radio they have 16 lap used tires, so I think that maybe is as fresh as anybody's got. Not sure what Rossi's got.
How about this?
Oh, this is the leader. Scott McLaughlin at least is set up to pit. Doesn't mean they will. They may just be prepared, but they have to determine it.
Yeah, they could be playing psych, could be playing a game of chicken.
I think Colton Herta's got to consider if McLaughlin comes think Herta's got to take a look as well. That could be the conversation. Teams will be saying, if so-and-so comes to pit lane, you come.
Does he come in to help his championship contending teammate, Will Power, get back on the lead lap? Is that part of an incentive?
Everybody would have to do it, or else they won't get the drive around.
Take another look there at the Stingray Robb incident, just high into those marbles.
Pits are open. Who's going to come in with 20 to go?
Kevin, I think you raise a great point. If McLaughlin comes in, then there would be a wave around, and lap down cars actually get moved out of the way.
At 15 to go.
Which could happen because we're 20 to go right now. Let's see. What does the 3 do?
And Herta is third car in line, second in the race.
They're all coming for it.
Okay.
Ferrucci's in. So yeah, everybody on the lead lap, it looks like. I see Grosjean coming as well. So that's the whole lead lap. Power will get a lap back. Georgia.
This is what we talked about with Scott McLaughlin, a late yellow. This could help him. He has extra sets. They're not stickers, but they put fresh tires and splash of fuel. He's down and away. Colton Herta amongst another taker, taking tires and fuel, and he is also down the way.
4.8 seconds for Alexander Rossi and Arrow McLaren. Heck of a pit stop.
Fuel only on the 7, guys.
Wow.
Fuel only for the 7. That's an interesting strategy.
How did he
Didn't think
Sorry,
fuel.
no fuel on the 7, just tires.
Just
tires.
Tires
no
only,
fuel on the
but
7.
still 4.8 seconds. That's a world record
That's
for 4 tires.
lightning fast for the 7. It got him ahead of Herta, who had a tragic stop. It was in the 8-second range. That's bad on a good day.
But somehow, Team Penske and Scott McLaughlin still beat out. Oh, it's because of the lap cars. Rossi with a much faster stop, but there were lap cars between McLaughlin and Rossi.
So don't forget, as soon as we are done here, we go straight to Darlington, another historic track, historic race. It's Labor Day weekend. That means it's the Southern 500 coming up next on USA, and it's the final race before the playoffs begin. One spot is essentially available today to get in.
Kevin, just as you called it, the pace car with the passenger waving for the wave around puts Will Power, I believe, back on the tail end of the lead lap. He'll show as the last car right now in 10th. I talked to our good friend Lee Diffie earlier this morning. He is so excited for that Southern 500 tonight. It's going to be fun to watch. Carson Hocevar there on the front row with Bubba Wallace. As right here in Milwaukee, we've got, I think, the best oval race we've had in years after what we thought yesterday was a great one. This is going to be awesome at the finish.
And what a day it has been for the two most effectively in the championship. 5 are mathematically alive, but we came in thinking about Palou and Power, and Palou didn't even start the race. Plus 43 coming in. At 1 point points as they run. Will Power is in front because he was leading, but he went around on a restart. Fell off the lead lap, but now he's got it back. He's 10th in the race, but he's got a chance to score some more points. Can he get around the likes of Kyle Kirkwood and Marcus Ericsson and Romain Grosjean?
It is definitely going to be fun to watch. He's the last car on the lead lap, as you said, in P10. He's coming in for some new boots. That's a good move right there.
And he might get some of those positions back. No.
Oh, left rear. Left rear issue for Will Power. I hope they got the wheel nut on.
A bit of a dispute there over who goes where in the order, but it's very clear the transponder says that.
That could be just an absolute deal killer for Will Power if that left rear is not tight. I think they got it tight,
I don't see
but
any panic.
barely.
He did pick up a position. He got by Kirkwood to pick up one spot. Ericsson beat him out of those that stopped there.
Now also important, Linus Lundqvist has been pulled out of the race. They didn't get that toe length fixed. He's ahead of Palou right now, so I'm not sure how many laps difference there was.
9 right now, so Palou could still get him. Palou could still finish 19th. The lapped cars have been moved out of the way, so it is going to be a straight up fight here. No traffic involved, at least on the restarts.
I mean, if Power can get you know, up to 5th or 6th here at the finish. It's a big deal in the championship.
Yeah, I'm looking at the cars in the top, well, all the cars in the top 8, I guess. If I'm Power, I'm going to want to almost be a little cautious on this restart. There might be some mayhem up front.
I'll tell you who's not going to be cautious. Alexander Rossi. Nope. It is all about getting a win this season. He is leaving this race team. He doesn't have a job yet for next year. James, you talked about it, the most sought-after free agent. You could absolutely plant a flag that you're the guy with a win here today.
This is going to be a safety third kind of moment for Alex Rossi. He's going to want to go throw caution to the wind and absolutely fight for this win.
Safety third, I've never heard that. That sounds like a night in New York with you and PJ Chesson.
Watch that orange and black number 14 for AJ Foyt in 5th. The car didn't seem to be performing very well in the last stint. What did the stop do? Is it sorted? Ferrucci in 5th will be on the charge, and you know Colton Herta right in front of him is going to be really aggressive too.
One of the things I spoke to Rinus VeeKay about before the race today was he said all the changes yesterday they made in a pit stop were super, super sensitive. These are road course wings. A half turn of front wings, not a huge shift, but he said you could destroy your balance with just 1/2 turn difference in the pit stop. So one pit stop could make or break the balance you've got for this shootout at the end.
So you've got steady hands that I would call with McLaughlin and Dixon, and then you've got huge aggression with Rossi, Herta, Ferrucci, VeeKay.
Buckle up.
I think I might have to sit down so I can stand again.
A dozen to go. We will go green next time by as McLaughlin crosses the start-finish line at the historic Milwaukee Mile, where something has been racing here. It was horses starting in 1876, cars since 1903, IndyCar since 1939, but not for almost the last decade. IndyCars are back. The fans have been thrilled. Yesterday's race was highly entertaining, and we've had a little bit of everything today.
Stand up and buckle up. This is going to be fun.
McLaughlin now has his win on an oval. Rossi has 1 win in the last 5 years, but he's won the Indianapolis 500. It was the 100th. Scott Dixon has won more races than anyone not named AJ Foyt. Here we go again from Milwaukee, and McLaughlin has a good jump. Dixon has a run on Rossi, and he zooms to 2nd. Dixon is on the charge. Herta going around the outside up to 3rd.
I think that move from Dixon caught Rossi off guard, had to get out of the throttle, and now Herta on Dixon into 3, side by side. Does the Ferrucci? Can Dixon fight back on the outside? Both guys throttling it.
I thought Herta was going to move up a little higher. They almost touched down the front straightaway. And the old guard versus the young guns here at Milwaukee. I said Dixon was the steady hand, but he made that pass like a 19-year-old going after his first win.
Who loves that fight? Scott McLaughlin is gapped by a 2nd.
No lap traffic in between these guys. No lap traffic up ahead for McLaughlin. He's not going to catch the back of the field. He is in the best seat in the house, clean air, and 9 laps to go, sorry.
Will Power has dropped down to last on that lead lap, so he has not moved forward on the restart. He is 10th. So at the moment, it's a 32-point cushion, and Palou can make up more points. He can still get 1 more position. He will in 4 laps to move up to 19th.
You've got a lap car of Christian Lundgaard in between Alexander Rossi and Colton Herta. That's that 2-second sandwich as Dixon starts to gather up Scott McLaughlin.
He is not done. He has cut that lead in half in the last 2 laps.
I think Dixon knew that he had a great race car, and that's why he so fiercely took the position with Herta and so fiercely defended on Herta coming back. Dixon thinks he can win this thing.
2 laps in a row. This has been the fastest car on the racetrack as he eats into that lead of McLaughlin.
So I just wondered, what is the 45 doing up there? He's getting a drive-through for failure to follow the direction of IndyCar. He was probably supposed to move to the back, as now Ferrucci is trying to get another spot. Side by side and wheel to wheel with Alexander Rossi.
Oh, there's the move.
Fourth.
That's the move Ferrucci loves all day long.
Everybody came in for tires in that lead lap, but we have no idea how old those tires were. They were all used. Could have been different numbers of laps.
Scott Dixon just turned the fastest lap of the race in these closing stages. A 23.5.
I believe these two have finished first and second on an oval before, but in reverse order from how they're running now. McLaughlin took that victory in Iowa. We see Ericsson now trying to make some moves on Rinus VeeKay down in 3.
Now 4 miles to go at the Milwaukee Mile for the leader, Scott McLaughlin, as Marcus Ericsson picks up a spot. He's running in 6th. There's the gap. First to second, McLaughlin.
But McLaughlin comes up on Christian Rasmussen, who has been a factor all day long for some of the faster cars, but he wisely stays low and gets out of the way.
And here comes Dixon, 58 career wins, 9 away from A.J. Foyt, a 6-time champion. That is not possible this year, but he could take another step to the unthinkable, maybe flirting with the all-time win record, with still plenty to go in the tank for the 44-year-old.
First came here to Milwaukee back in 1999 as an Indy Lights driver with Stefan Johansson as the team owner. 26th year, I think, racing at Milwaukee. He knows this place better than anybody in the field.
It does not look like Dixon is going to have enough. McLaughlin can bring it home. 1 lap to go at the Milwaukee Mile for Scott McLaughlin. He could stay mathematically alive in the championship. He would be eliminated if Alex Palou starts the race. But all you can do is what's available. Scott McLaughlin has been quick all weekend. He loves the history of motorsports. There's not much more historical than the Milwaukee Mile. In the IndyCar return, Scott McLaughlin has won again on an oval.
Yes. Let's go, boys.
This checkered flag moment is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Team Penske wins, Scott McLaughlin, and the championship lead is 33 going to the Nashville Superspeedway. In 2 weeks, Alex Palou leading Will Power, and that's where it will be decided. Before we get to Darlington in the Southern 500, there's still a lot to unpack from the Milwaukee Mile as we look at the Pennzoil moment of the race and how Scott McLaughlin got to the front, going by Colton Herta for the final time. Took a couple of tries to get this done and completed.
Had to deal with a late restart, late pit stop. He delivered on track. The Thirsty Threes delivered in pit lane. Absolutely flawless execution from this group and a well-deserved victory.
We're less than 10 minutes away from sending it to Marty Snyder and the gang in Darlington for the Southern 500 to get you set for the cutoff race. Final race of the regular season, and positions still in play to make the playoffs, regular season title, and more, with Bubba Wallace trying to work his way in, starting from the pole today. But now it's time to celebrate to victory lane with Georgia Henneberry.
He celebrated a little bit already with every member of this team. Scott victorious here at the Milwaukee Mile, such a historic place for the NTT IndyCar Series, and now you get to add your name to those history books. How were you able to deal with the unpredictability of this race?
That was like the most fun race I've had in IndyCar. It was a blast. So happy for everyone in the Gallagher Chevy. Like we just stuck with it, and it wasn't quite good at the start, the car, and then we just tuned her up, and it was awesome. So a lot better in traffic today, which helped a lot. Credit to Colton and all the races out there. We had a blast racing each other, and the 21 car, their pit crew, they helped me a lot, and some exchanges helping me get into the pit box and stuff. So big thanks to Team Chevy and that teamwork that we have, and yeah, burn the house down tonight. It was awesome. I'm pumped.
What does this win signify for this team?
Just tenacity, I guess, in some ways. You know, we work hard. Our car wasn't great last night. I did a terrible job yesterday, and we really worked hard on it. I hardly slept last night. Honestly, I got like 4.5 hours sleep just because I was just like so stressed about like what I did wrong and what I could do better, and just really lucky to have this group, you know, and we'll just keep working, and hopefully, you know, that's all we can do is win races from now on, so we'll just have fun.
A win created out of hard work. Scott McLaughlin is victorious here at the Milwaukee Mile, Dylan.
Will Power rebounded to 10th after an eventful day. Let's start with the spin on the restart. What happened there?
Yeah, it was like a faster than normal restart, or maybe it's because I was starting back there and I was in second gear. Just, oh man, caught me by surprise. did not expect that. I was really happy to keep it off the wall and not get hit by anyone. And yeah, we lost a lap changing that wing, so I don't know how damaged the wing was, but oh man, yeah, that was closer.
Well, and you just said the points sit at 33.
Yeah, I was able to actually bump it crazily. Yeah, long shot now. Yeah, God gave us a chance there, and kind of let it go. But that's a season, man. You just can't have those mistakes. You know, it's going to be a big hectic on those restarts, and we're back there, so maybe it would have been better to stay out. I don't know.
They needed a good day. They had an okay day today, but still cut 10 points out of Alex Palou's championship lead.
Yep, he's done it on back-to-back days, and Will Power will have a chance in 2 weeks at the Nashville Super Speedway. Darlington coming up, but still more to come from the Milwaukee Mile. The Thirsty Threes, as they have named themselves, still celebrating with Scott McLaughlin in Victory Lane. We'll go to Darlington coming up in just a few minutes for the Southern 500 on USA. Here is your factoid of the day. A driver named Johnny Mance won here at the Milwaukee Mile in what was then considered an IndyCar back in 1948. The very first Southern 500 was won by Johnny Mance. One in IndyCar, one in NASCAR. The Southern 500 is coming up. All right, let's hear from the other championship contender. Still in front, still pretty comfortable, but how comfy, Georgia?
Yeah, exactly. Damage was definitely minimized today, but going forward, how do you feel heading into Nashville?
I'm a bit sad and disappointed today. We just couldn't really do anything. We tried everything to try and not lose many laps, but yeah, it was out of my control or the team's control or HRC control. So yeah, it's a sport. It is what it is. But we tried everything. We're getting happier and happier, getting more points, 1 point, one more point, one more point. So yeah, it was not a great day, but could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot better, obviously. But yeah, on to Nashville.
On to Nashville. Dylan.
Scott Dixon finishes in the second spot on a weekend where he made his 400th career start. Now the all-time podium finisher record holder. So had a shot there at the end. What more did you need maybe on that restart to track down the 3?
Yeah, it was tough. I think had it gone, you know, a few more laps, it looked like he was starting to burn his fronts off a little bit. But congrats to McLaughlin. Obviously, pretty sweet to have a Kiwi 1-2 there. Huge thanks to everybody in the PNC bag number 9. The pit stops were on point, and you know, Honda always a joy to drive, so that was fun out there. But yeah, you know, yesterday was a mess. Friday qualifying on Saturday was just put us in a big hole. So to come from 17th, we just kept moving up all day and had really good runs going. So yeah, just one more would have been cool.
How crucial were the restarts just with kind of the way the track was and the options that were presented when it did get cleaned off up there?
I will say, once you got to the front, the restarts were a lot easier. You just, you know, sometimes with lap traffic and they were having a bad day, you just didn't know where to go, and then you get crowded, everybody would get slowed up. So, you know, a lot more fun when you could just kind of race hard at the front. But yeah, staying out of trouble, as we saw a lot of trouble today. Obviously, glad Alex didn't lose too many points. It could have been a dreadful day for him and the team. 33 points, that's still a great lead, and hopefully Chip Ganassi Racing can come away with another championship.
Yeah, not a bad day for the CGR guys for sure. Scott Dixon goes to the second spot today.
So Dixon with another good result today. Herta joins him on the podium, and it's time to celebrate Wisconsin tile for Scott McLaughlin. More to come from Milwaukee and Darlington. Back at the Milwaukee Mile for the second half of the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s, and there is a lot to unpack, and it started before the green flag. Alex Palou had a mechanical issue on the warm-up laps. He began 28 laps down, then try number 2, more chaos.
We didn't get very far, especially Joseph Newgarden, the pole sitter, taken out. Made about 100 feet past start finish, and his day would be done.
Championship leader Palou back on track after some frantic work from the Ganassi crew back in the garage. But it wasn't all roses for the other championship contender. Will Power on a restart, all on his own, loops it, barely brushes the wall, no damage.
At one point, Power was in position to potentially take the championship lead to Nashville. Scott McLaughlin worked his way through traffic, had a great late battle with Colton Herta. He wins it, holding off Scott Dixon by a half of a second. to win for the 3rd time this year, 7th time in his career. Another driver that had a good day today, top 5, Marcus Ericsson is with Dylan.
Yeah, started 16th, much better result today than when we were speaking with him yesterday. So passed a lot of cars, it seems like, but how would you evaluate the day?
Yeah, first of all, big credit to the 28 Delaware Life crew. You know, we had a big crash yesterday. 3 out of 4 corners of the car were broken, new floor, bodywork, and no practice today. You know, just an install lap, so it was tough to get the car dialed in, but they did a tremendous job. The race itself, really fun, a lot of action out there, and it's today and yesterday is IndyCar racing at its best. You know, short oval racing, you know, a lot of restart starts, just a lot of action. So I really enjoyed to see so much fans here, and hopefully people behind the TVs were enjoying it as well, because it was really fun out there.
Yeah, how much fun is it, and how stressful is it just trying to make sure you don't get hit, the restarts were chaotic. It seemed like there was a lot going on all 250 laps.
Yeah, it was action all the way through for me at least, so it was really fun. And then yeah, in the end there, hunting down Rossi and getting an outside pass on the last lap for a top 5, it's a pretty good feeling actually. And my birthday is tomorrow, so it was an early birthday present at the top 5.
That's right, happy birthday. Thanks, Marcus.
There should be double celebrations after a double header. Even if you have a bad day today, can you just cross that off and Connor Daly can go podium celebrate tonight? Here is the championship with 1 to go.
Really a seesaw day with those top 2 at one point. Power in a position to come out of here with the championship lead until that unfortunate and untimely spin off of turn 4 on the restart. Colton Herta drops a spot. Scott Dixon moves up a spot. The rest of the field about level.
Everyone else just racing for wins at this point. Santino Ferrucci holding strong there inside the top 10 as we get a look at that podium.
How many ovals are in New Zealand?
Not many to my knowledge.
Because these two guys from halfway around the world. Dixon's been doing it a long time. McLaughlin, a very quick learner, but New Zealand 1-2 on the podium.
And Scott McLaughlin certainly takes great pleasure in holding off his hero. He started falling in love with IndyCar racing after he watched Dixon win the Indy 500 in 2008, and he beat him. Oh, what a wonderful weekend it's been. It's been fantastic to have IndyCar back at the Milwaukee Mile. The fans responded, and now build for the future, and we'll be back again coming up next summer. Racing is not done on NBC. Up next, it's the Southern 500. For James Hinchcliffe, Townsend Bell, Georgia Henneberry, and Dylan Welch, I'm Kevin Lee. Time to head to Darlington. We turn it over to Marty Snyder now for the Southern 500.